and welcome to live coverage of round 9 of this, the 2022 Club 100 and BUKC iRacing Championship, the return after the summer break. Hope you're all doing very, very well this evening. My name is Andrew Mather, alongside me, virtually at least, in the DDMM comms box is Howard Mitchell. Howard, we're back for some iRacing of Club 100 form, and what a circuit to be at as well. This is one of our favourites, isn't it?
Absolutely, mate, absolutely. Hello to yourself, hello to everybody joining us for this, as you say, return after the summer break. And of course, accordingly, the sun is shining right now around the Mountain Panorama circuit. But no, we love this track. This is one of the, you know, a few years ago when I got into endurance sports car racing, mate, this was one of those tracks that you just, you see them racing around and you can't quite believe what they're doing. It's something that you get, you know, I grew up when I was a kid mostly as a Formula 1 fan. This is one of those tracks that, this is a no-go for the single-seaters, but it's an amazing track. I absolutely love it. It made me fall in love with sports car racing because of how dramatic it is. As you're going up towards the mountain, you know, and coming down from it, it's all about being in the slipstream, being in, you know, trying to execute the pass. Then over the top of the mountain, it's just about trying to hold on. You know, it's about trying to follow your opponent through, keeping it clean, with a hope that you might be able to set up a pass down the Conrod Straight at the other end of it all. It's an exhilarating circuit to drive, and we're going to give it, I think, it's proper treatment with the format that we're using tonight as well, with a unique format, is it not, for this season, to do this full 2-hour GT3 only sports car race. It's fantastic.
It is. So I say it's the third endurance event that we've had of the year. We've had the double header 2 40-minute races at Daytona. That kicked us off for the start of the season. We then had our 2-driver team endurance at, where else but Le Mans, back in June. And this is our third one. It's a solo challenge this time, though, for the drivers. 2 hours. And that's, I think, patience is going to be the big one here tonight, mate, about keeping a lid on it almost. Because the walls are so tight, they're so close, it's so easy to make a mistake around this place. That is going to be a real challenge, particularly for some of our drivers who've maybe not driven that long before.
100%. 100%. You know, can you keep the focus for that sustained period as qualifying is getting underway? So we'll try and start showing you something in the dark, of course. So added challenge here. You're pushing the very limits with the qualifying pace over the mountain. So this is the double whammy, as it were, of trying to get it right. Very similar, of course, to what we see in the Bathurst 12 hours when we have the special event in iRacing. We have the qualifying in the dark, of course. Some people, even if they've only fleetingly taken a look at iRacing videos online, may have come across a rather famous driver called Max Verstappen. I've got it written down here. Okay. Doing a very impressive lap around this circuit in preparation for an iRacing Bathurst 12 hours.
He must be one of these new whippersnapper sim racers.
I think so, mate. Yeah. We'll see how he gets on.
Talking of whippersnapper sim racer, just whilst we've got a very brief bit of time out, what are our championship scores on the doors before flying laps begin?
I'm glad you asked, mate. Let's take a very quick look at that. This is overall points, so we've got some drivers maybe out of position a little bit from drop scores. Well, burning through drop scores by not being at certain rounds, so it will all come into play later in the season. But Sam Sanders is atop the standings there, 775 points at the moment. Michael Preston, obviously a familiar name at the very top of this one. James Montgomery, some really good momentum behind him, his season coming into the summer break, Andrew, with 2 podiums on the trot. So interesting to see if he can carry that momentum out of the summer break into this race. Tom Dix there as well, with Matt Hale in 5th overall, leading the Class 2 standings in the championship. And behind him, somebody else who had good momentum coming into the break, although has frankly had an impressive season all round so far, Chris Powell. Really good, very interesting in many ways. Powell's had more wins, Andrew, but Hale has had good consistency throughout the season. That's really a theme there. I think James Fremont rounds out the top 3 within Class 2. Josh Ladd, got to give a mention to him. He's down there because he didn't turn up for one of the rounds, but he's definitely one to watch. Won it last time out when we were in the F3s around Silverstone, so he's always one to watch, of course. And so we carry on down the order. Charlie Summers and Cameron Watson round out our top 10. And then we start our nice and long tour down the championship tables, to be honest. As we always say, it's fantastic, the grid sizes that we've got, how many people have taken part. As we head on down the order, you know, we've got some drivers as well, Andrew, who we only saw towards the midpoint of the season, who are essentially disruptors here, you know, the likes of Felix Connolly and James Corp and Tom Edwards, James Waller, just some of the names that I'm aware of that you know, we didn't see right at the beginning of this season, but they come in and they could be disruptors as well with the rounds that they continue to compete in. Drivers not going for a championship score overall, but just here to have some fun. So great to see.
Absolutely. So fast laps going on at the moment. No one's set a time yet, and this is to an extent not one of the really important qualifying sessions of the year because it is a 2-hour race. We'll get on to race starts a little bit later on because I want to ask your opinion on that, Howard. But across the line, we've been looking at I believe Chris Hansen here on screen at the moment, who sets a 2-minute 5.28. Mike Hart's quickest on the moment on a 2:04.1. I should also say some welcomes. We've got 2 new drivers tonight to the Club 100 and BUKC iRacing Championship. One of them will be very familiar, though, to regular viewers of the channel here on DDMM. We'll get on to him in a moment. But firstly, welcome to Matthew Cockram, regular driver in real life over the past few years. Great to have him on board. And I like the number that he's gone for as well. The 321. Well, hopefully it'll be 321 and on the Class 2 podium for Cockram tonight. The other driver, slightly aforementioned, Sam Dimolo. Sam Dimolo joins us, who of course has run the Gran Turismo Club 100 league for the last few years. It was another one of the leagues that got going during COVID. But GT7 still haven't fixed lobbies. Come on, Polyphony. Get your act together because we want that league to come back. But in the meantime, we're very glad to have Sam with us here in the iRacing bit. The iRacing bit of Club 100 sim racing. Yes. So big welcome to them. I'm also going to give a shout out to Andy Golby as well, Andrew Golby, who I don't think we've had for a few rounds. So good to have him back. Apart from that, it's all the regulars. It's all the names that you know. And at the moment, it's Charlie Summers who's quickest of them on a 2-minute 3.1.
Yeah, absolutely. Decent lap time there from Charlie Summers. So going to be interesting to see who can beat that. We've got some, well, I'll call them big names on track. Drivers who usually feature prominently in the series who we're yet to get times from, as that's a moment for Mr. Dimolo, as we're on board with him.
Rookie nerves. Put it down to rookie nerves.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Getting it out of the way. Getting it out of the way. It's important. Obviously, well, actually, I say obviously, we should explain. So it's going to be a 2-hour race, mate, but it's going to be with 4 times multiplier on the speed.
Yes.
So for anyone who thought we were going to be looking at the cars in silhouette form throughout the round, don't worry. We are going to get to see daylight and liveries and all of that good stuff. We're just trying to replicate some of the elements of Bathurst. That is another element of Bathurst. Make the excitement of the race start in the dark.
Yep. Talk us through that and what can happen, particularly
chaos can happen. Chaos can happen is what can happen. You know, there's been a bit of discussion from certain drivers, mate, of how do I play the start, because it's such a long race. You don't want to mess things up. do I, do I start from the pit lane, or do I start from the back? Do I actually not qualify? And that is one of the questions here. We may see drivers not really qualifying and starting towards the back on the idea that they can avoid incidents. I wish them luck.
Yes.
In their endeavours. For us, when we did the 12 Hours of Bathurst iRacing special event earlier this year, 'twas not so. There was a big incident for us round about here, where James Montgomery is heading towards, actually midway along this straight up towards Griffin's Bend. An incident, everybody compresses up, we hit the brakes, and hit the brakes enough that we would have stopped and avoided the incident. Unfortunately, those around us
did not
stop as effectively, and thus they went into the back of us, and we still had to have a lot of repairs. Let's be clear here, this track can generate those, what do we call them almost? Those Macau moments? You know, when you've all seen those famous videos of Macau becoming just immediately blocked?
Yes.
Through an incident. It can happen here too.
And
it can happen over the mountain section very easily. It can happen before the mountain section, as I've just recalled. And it's just something that the drivers are going to have to, their eyes will be out on stalks, particularly in these light conditions, and particularly at race start. It's going to be that race of keep it clean for the first bit, be patient. Then as the race goes on, it's going to be about keeping the focus as the field spreads out.
And just to update folks, there is a supplementary regulation for tonight. Safety cars can be called at any time of the race for an incident on the mountain. So if it's down Conrod, no. But if it's an Austin Powers moment on the mountain, the safety car can be called after lap 1 as well. Lap 1 normally being where we're restricted to safety cars on lap 1, and unlimited fast repairs are in play as well. So for what it's worth, well, I was just about to say Charlie Summers is still on pole position, but Josh Ladd has just completely corrected that in his view. 2 minutes 3.11. In fact, he's 500ths quicker than Summers at the moment. Sam Sanders third on the grid, Michael Preston fourth, Nathan Maximan, great qualifying there from Nathan, at the moment in fifth ahead of Tom Edwards. Mike Hart seventh, James Montgomery eighth, Cameron Watson and Chris Hansen wrapping out the top 10. Should mention as well, we've got a special guest in the Simply Catnip car tonight, or in a driver that doesn't normally race in the Simply Catnip car. So hello to Tom Dix, who's in that one tonight. iRacing's got me again on that one. Let's get rid of that as we get ready for the race. But big thanks to Simply Catnip, Club 100 and the BUKC and G3 Pro as well. I shouldn't forget G3 Pro for all their support and sponsoring of the championship. Here we go then. Here's your grid. Josh Ladd ahead of Charlie Summers, Sam Sanders and Michael Preston, row 2. Nathan Maximan and Tom Edwards is row 3. Mike Hart and James Montgomery, row 4. Cameron Watson and Chris Hansen, row 5. So it's the top 10, all full of Class 1s. If you're new to the series, Class 1s, faster, more experienced drivers are denoted with a red number board, like Prems in the old days in sprints for Club 100. Craig Brown is the fastest of the Class 2s, denoted in blue, ahead of Andrew Dawson. So that's row 6. Tom Dix and JJ Aston on row 7. Good qualifying there from JJ. James Fremont and Matthew Whitefoot, row 8. Christopher Powell and Matthew Cockram on row 9. And I think the graphics got stuck. Oh, there it is. There we go. Row 10 has got Ian Sumner and Sam Timmerlow on it. Andrew Golby and Alan Curtis on row 11. Steve Hicks is a non-starter. He's to be ignored in this regard. So Murray Adams, Matt Hale and David Whitehouse look like they're starting from pit lane. And we do have a warm-up going on at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, so don't worry, you are not missing any of the competitive action.
All right, the graphics got stuck just because I realised I was just promoting Matt Hale at the bottom of the screen. just his name there. But anyway, so yes, indeed, 5-minute warm-up that the drivers are getting. A few drivers out there, Andrew, but most drivers, I think, taking the opportunity to sort of make sure everything's ready ahead of the 2-hour race beginning.
Hello to William Cook, who's cheering on Sam tonight. Great to have you on board. Nathan Maxman is happy with his qualifying, and so he should be. That was a great lap here round Bathurst. And hello, as I say, Steve Hicks, you saw him on the graphic. That's because he popped into the lobby earlier, so he has registered for the race, but he's not allowed to race from Sitges with a keyboard and a mouse. That is highly illegal. But he is there in the chat. And I've been talking to some of the drivers as well, Howard. Strategy is going to really play into this tonight, quite deliberately. The race has been set up, the fuel tank size has been set up to not provide an easy, obvious strategy for the drivers to do. We are going to see, because I've been talking to a number, I won't reveal their strategies, of course, that would be unprofessional of me, but there are varying approaches to this race regards fuel and tyres that could make it very, very interesting indeed. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. So the fuel tanks are set to 75% capacity, effectively. And that means, if this was a typical 2-hour run in these GT3 cars, you could do an hour.
Yeah.
There or thereabouts. On a fuel tank would be done quite comfortably. In fact, I want to say when we did the special event earlier this year, we actually could comfortably do an hour. I want to say it was about an hour and 5.
An hour and 3, yeah.
So they could ordinarily do this race with just one stop, no problem. Because of that restriction, they're going to have to make 2 stops on the fuel that they've got. And so it's going to be a combination of fuel, and then, Andrew, is the question of the tyres. Because are you going to be able to double stint those tyres? How is that going to be? We've got the time multiplier on as well, so the temperatures are going to be much more dynamic than we would usually expect, as Nathan picks an interesting place to park up on the Conrod Straight, if I'm perfectly honest.
Naughty boy.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how the drivers play this from the point of view of the fuel and tyres. They have to make 2 stops with the fuel. Well, I say they have to make 2 stops with the fuel. Can somebody manage to save like crazy? Who knows if they can make that work for them. But by convention, you're going to need 2 stops on the fuel. What do you do with your tyres?
And traffic as well. Traffic over the mountain is always a big one in the special event. Drivers who are patient, I think, will be rewarded tonight. Those who can just stay calm and not scare those they are lapping. That is always a really, really big thing that we've experienced in this event in the years gone by. The 5-minute warm-up is complete. We'll be back with pictures shortly. But Howard, the cars as well, this could be quite unpredictable because we've had a new build in the last 24 hours come out. BOP has been adjusted. We're really not sure which way it's gone. There was a lot of love for the BMW. Obviously, you can see it at the front of the grid a lot there. But that could also play into this race.
Absolutely, mate. They've just rebalanced everything for the new season.
And how balanced is it? We don't know.
How balanced is it? There are no new GT3 cars with this season release, so there's no complete unknowns. But as you say, the preference within the field largely being BMWs. We saw Matt Hale just towards the end of qualifying, one of only 2 people running the Porsche in this field. Excuse me, the only person, isn't he? Because Steve Hicks is actually not racing. So the sole Porsche running. There's also a sole Mercedes AMG GT3 in the hands of Matthew Cockram. And then there are 4 Ferraris across the field. Cameron Watson, Tom Dix, JJ Aston and Ian Sumner. Everybody else, Andrew, plumping for the BMW M4 GT3. It's a popular platform for its stability
yes.
and its predictability. And I think that's what's really, endeared people for it for an event such as this. A lot of people have it, pick it up as a stable car to run. But what's going to work? How are those going to play off of each other is absolutely another factor in this fascinating race.
Well, we'll find out over the course of the next 2 hours. The formation run, it's not a full lap, is underway. The Porsche 911 Cup car will pull into pit lane. Josh Ladd has pole position. Charlie Summers alongside us has some great qualifying so far this year. Round 9 of the 2022 Club 100 BUKC iRacing Championship here on Double Dash Motorsport Media is go. Great start for Josh Ladd, heading to turn 1 for the first time. This is where the butterflies will be if you're in the midfield or towards the back. The big run up the hill now, and then it's the mountain. This is where we've seen things go wrong before, but so far, Howard, everyone looking like they're playing it sensibly, which is good to see.
Yeah, good to see from the early proceedings here, as you say, mate, but there's a long way to go yet in this first lap, let alone allowing for everything to calm down and everyone to get into a rhythm. And of course, that's just assuming that no one just makes a bit of a careless error. You know, how much running has everybody done with cars around them to this extent as well? Does that cause them to lose focus? But a great start from Josh Ladd, certainly, to lead them away. Understandably, not too many position changes thus far as they head over the top of the mountain for the first time.
Looks pretty clear so far on the mountain. Drivers have also been told that they need to notify when they do have a bit of a moment over the mountain. But from my position here, Howard, it's all looking good so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, they might take it nice and cautiously at the start of this one. This, Andrew, is a long old race.
Oh, big off! That's Ian Sumner. Ian Sumner in the wall. That looked to be involving... well, did he manage to collect anybody else in that thing? He just made that all by himself. JJ Aston out as well. Well, at least towing back to the pits. They'll be able to get a fast repair, but that is... I think was that coming down through the dipper that Ian Sumner had that off. And unfortunately, he is out, out of contention for Class 2 tonight with that one.
Yeah, I think, it's an unfortunate start for him, but they'll get underway again. Fast repairs, as you said earlier, mate. So they're not totally out the running here. But at the end of lap number 1, it is Josh Ladd who leads this race as he started it.
So, end of lap 1, as Howard says, Josh Ladd leads, Charlie Summers in second place, Sam Sanders Championship leader third, Michael Preston fourth. He's had a few great wins so far this season. You can see him there in the Williams Esports BMW. Nathan Maximan has held on to his 5th place from qualifying. And Mike Hart at the end of this train, Howard, that it's a top 6 already starting to break away from Tom Edwards there in 7th.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little breakaway group, as you say, coming through the cutting now and beginning once more this fantastic run over the mountain, Andrew, through the quarry corners. And then these rapid left-handers skimming right up against the wall. This is, for me, this is where this track is so exhilarating, is just how close to the wall and at what speeds they're doing over the top of the mountain here. Through Skyline.
Sorry, Howard. Mike Hart slightly tagged the wall there, just going through Skyline.
Absolutely, and that's the thing, mate. The drivers will almost routinely do that during this race, within reason. You know, obviously, if they tag it too much, then they're going to rue that mistake. But it's not uncommon just to have a little bit of a tag of the wall. I think whenever you watch, you know, Monaco or Macau or Formula E with all the street tracks that they go to, not uncommon to just have a little rub with the barrier, and you're going to see it over the course of this race, just the number of times these drivers are going to, but that's the challenge of it. It's precision at very high speeds, and you know, you could see with that onboard we were on then with Mike Hart, the changes in height as you're going over the mountain. The car's getting light, the car's feeling heavy. All of that is going on over the course of the lap. And it's what makes Bathurst so much fun to drive, but also so challenging.
I'm hoping it's a slight timing glitch at my end. How's the likes of Murray Adams, David Whitehouse and Andrew Golby doing? I think they all started either from the pit lane or towards the back. Yeah, they're all still running again. So Ian Sumner and JJ Easton, I think, are now back out on circuit. That's good to see. It's early stages. The drivers have heeded the warnings to take it calm. There's David Whitehouse in the 777. He's currently running in 20th position at the Seesaw Digital livery on a car that he's quite familiar with now, Howard, this BMW.
Indeed. Doing plenty of racing with, well, with you and me, mate. DDMM Barnstormers. Done several endurance sports car events with us. In fact, we're coming up to sort of the anniversary of that in many ways, because his first event for our team was Petit Le Mans last year. So yeah, absolutely, and a lot of that has been contested in BMW machinery, not least this M4 GT3. He works his way over the mountain, chasing Murray Adams.
5 minutes of this race gone, already settling in. Andrew Golby coming back out of pit exit as well, so I think something has happened to Golby. Here we're looking at a battle involving James Montgomery, Chris Hansen in the Simply Catnip car, just behind there, last year's Class 2 champion. And they've got Tom Edwards ahead of them as well. This is a good group to be in, and drivers who have strengths with the tactics as well. I'm sure the likes of Hansen and Montgomery have crunched the numbers as to how to approach this race. And I don't think they'll be too worried that they're seeing that top 6 gallop away at the moment, because if they're doing a fuel saving and tyre saving efforts when when it's a little bit cooler in these darker conditions, they could come into play in the second half of the race.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I think they'll be happy at this point just to pace themselves, within reason, work together, and as you say, it's not that big of a deal at this stage to have a group further ahead of them. Might Hart maybe just drop a little bit off the back of that group ahead of them, if we're being honest, mate. Needs to just try and stay with them. Here he is. In fact, you can see there how he's dropped off by a couple of seconds. And if anything, that's sort of more the risk, is if you don't have a pack to pace yourself with, it can be slightly harder. And let's not forget as well, if you've got a pack of drivers all with their headlights on with you, you get extra light.
Yes.
So that's an aspect as well. Yeah, might be. And then if another pack does, I'm not voting with this little confidence in Mike's pace, but if the other pack does start to catch up with him because they're working together, then suddenly the headlights start to come into play and shadows start to flicker around you. It's not the easiest thing. So this is it's going to be interesting to see how this develops.
Just looking at the debutants out there as well. I think Sam Dimolo and Matthew Cochran close out there together. Here we are on board with Matt Hale.
Sole Porsche in the field.
So the best Porsche driver.
Indeed. There you go.
Alan Curtis just ahead. That's been piling in the laps over the last few weeks. This first race back after the summer break. Trying to set up a move. And this will be quite interesting here down Conrod, Howard, to see what the speed difference is like between the BMW and the Porsche. And again, it's looking advantage BMW here, because there is Hale in the slipstream and unable to really close in on Curtis.
Yeah, we should be clear here that, by the way, in terms of setup, they're all running the stock sprint setup for these cars. Unless you're about to correct me, that wasn't changed before. That was the stock sprint setup that these cars are running. So that's a much better run, though, it has to be said, out of Murray's corner there for Matt Hale. Alan Curtis going shallow into Hell corner to cover off any move.
But again, this is this point here where you would hope Howard to be able to see Hale pull up alongside. He just doesn't seem to have the power. He's having a little look as they go there up to Quarry Bend. No, not alongside. It really is a corner, Quarry Bend, where you've got to be alongside on the run up the mountain straight to realistically get that one done safely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you've got to commit into Quarry. Sorry, I think I called it Griffin's earlier. This bit's Griffin's just gone through, isn't it? But there's the move. There is not where I expected the move at all. That was quite something. Into turn number 8. That, I'm not really sitting now. That was compliant, we have to say there, from Alan. I think he sensed the move was on and so gave way. But that's a bit of a statement of intent for me from Matt. That was, I'm not wanting to lose time here. Let's get on with this.
Just a tad. Great move there from the Class 3 leader. Oh, and I think Curtis is in the wall there. I think that's going to be trouble. That may be trouble for Alan Curtis. It is so easy to bend a tow rod round here, or a steering tie rod, something of that description. And this is familiar. Coming down Conrod is the steering straight on that number 143 BMW. Well, he got through the chase, okay, or the initial part of the chase. The light conditions just about starting to change here at Bathurst. No, he's going to carry on. Is Alan Curtis.
Yep. Here's Cameron Watson in this train of 4 cars, being led by Tom Edwards. This is the sort of second pack that we referred to earlier. Cameron, the highest placed of the Ferrari runners at the moment.
Ferrari pretty handy around this circuit, historically on iRacing, Howard.
Yeah, absolutely. It's they are getting so close to the wall there in the dots, but yeah, absolutely. It's I think I mildly prefer to drive it instead of the BMW over this mountain, and I say that as someone who, when you and I have contested this event, we've used the BMW more recently, but yeah, very successful car over the mountain, and one that's a lot of fun to drive. I think particularly since the Evo model was released as well in iRacing, just got that slight more stability on the rear. A lot of drivers report that they feel more confidence in that car, and obviously it's a car that a lot of drivers is ahead of them. That's Chris Hansen and Tom Edwards going side by side, and Chris Hansen has sent it down the inside there, and that's on the grass for Watson.
Yeah, and I think you can understand why Watson's on the lights there. Yeah. He will have felt that he was sufficiently alongside to warrant being given some more room than he was. Anyway, 12 minutes gone.
Hansen's made it stick though, mate.
Yep.
He has now got himself to the head of this peloton, if we want to call it that, the head of this second grouping. And again, as we just saw from Matt Hell, that too is a statement of intent for me, that he's saying, no, I'll crack on now, mate. I'll take the head of the field. And now Tom Edwards and James Montgomery are going side by side into Quarry.
That's very brave from Montgomery around the outside. It's slippery out there. There's not a lot of grip if you're off the racing line through Quarry Bend. Watson may have a go here. No, actually, no. He's going to have to yield that before they get to the next corner. Great racing, as we expected when we put this one on the calendar. GT3s round Mount Panorama. I know the Bathurst 12 hour has grown as an event, and it's grown in recognition over the last few years. I still think it's one of the most underrated combinations of circuit and formula of race car around, really, this place in GT3s.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of the most fun ways to have one of the most fun combinations, as you say, mate, with these GT3s. You can really feel the cars. It's the same, this and lapping the Nürburgring Nordschleife for me, just so much fun, and particularly fun in the GT3s. They're ones where I particularly appreciate them. It's this down the Conrod straight between Edwards and Montgomery again into the chase. Under braking, it's still Edwards ahead, but no, it's going to be better drive off the corner for Montgomery, and sure, that's going to be the move done, and the opportunity on for Watson here as well.
Fair play, James Montgomery keeping it pinned, and in there, that will have been a little bit squeaky on the outside through the chase, but he held his position, held his nerve, and got that spot. He's up to 8th place. So, coming up to 15 minutes gone. Quarter of the way through the first hour. Josh Ladd still leading this race from Charlie Summers. Michael Crestno has got up to third place ahead of Sam Sanders. Nathan Maximin and Mike Hart completing the front group. And it's this second group that we were looking at over the last lap or so. Chris Hansen, James Montgomery now up to 8th place. Tom Edwards 9th. Cameron Watson completing the top 10. Craig Brown having a good run so far there, Howard. A driver who, again, likes these GT3s. We've mentioned it before. Had a very good race win at Spa last season in the Ferrari Evo. And at the moment, here, he is dominating Class 2.
Yeah, absolutely. 2.8 seconds to the good over Andrew Dawson behind. And happily running in solitude for the moment. And yeah, he's making it work for him. The only question I would have, Andrew, is how's his fuel usage, how's his tyre usage, etc., etc. You know, at what cost, if any, is he leading this one so comfortably? But yeah, no, absolutely, he's doing a cracking job.
He's lifting and coasting there as well. He heard the clutch cut in. But Craig Brown at the moment, 11th in points. Has taken part in every single race so far this season and was second in class last time out. Here's a driver who took a race win last time we were in the GT3s. That was at Le Mans when he paired up with Steve Hicks for that particular round number 7. James Fremont wide there, and Whitefoot is going to have a chance to go around the outside and does so. Great move.
Yeah, just put the pressure onto Fremont, and it caused James to have to be very bold on the brakes and just slightly. It's easily done, Andrew, because it's a big braking zone there into the chase, and yeah, it's possible to. It's so possible if you're under pressure with another driver alongside to outbrake yourself, and that gave the opportunity there to Whitefoot.
Good opportunity as well to give a thanks to some of our subscribers who've joined us recently, because as I say, we've been on a bit of a break on the channel. It's been a busy few weeks, but big thanks to Sam Gale, Postcode Tom, and Russ. I don't know your second name, Russ, because that's all it says. It just says Russ on my mini feed here. But thank you guys for subscribing, and if you're new around here and you don't mind clicking that subscribe button, that really does help us out here at DDMM. Every single round of this championship live for you between now and the end of the season. You can watch all of the races back as well, and plenty more Club 100 in real life action coming up. If you missed Saturday's Alpha live stream that we were involved with from a commentary perspective, that was very enjoyable indeed, seeing the cadets and juniors race around Wilton Mill. So do go check that out if you've got a little bit of spare time. And as I say, we've got more in real life Club 100 racing coming up across the rest of the autumn, with trips to places such as Ella Park and Bookmore Park as well. I'm hearing problems for Sam Dimolo, Howard. I think he's had an incident out there in the dark.
Yeah, and Matt Hale's on the pit lane as well, Andrew, and I'm just trying to work out. So there is... that is Sam Dim... no, that's not. That's... No, excuse me. Sam Dimolo is on the pit lane. There he is. Matt Hale now going out. I'm not sure if that was due to an incident. It's a little early, surely, to be... Oh, is it? I would have thought surely you'd want to go deeper into the race than that. I believe as well I saw that Andrew Colby may have had a disconnect. As Matt Hale immediately comes out into some action here.
At least he's just holding and keeping out of the way. Apologies if we just had a little bit of a stream drop there. Hopefully you're back with us.
Nursing it over the mountain as he is.
Here's a battle that we're looking at involving Michael Preston at the front of it. And he's got Sam Sanders just behind. Nathan Maximin putting in another great performance here. Easy to forget that he's still in his first full complete year of iRacing. He really has taken to it. Very fast driver indeed. They're very close at the front of the order. 0.6 of a second, 0.5 of a second between Josh Ladd and Charlie Summers. There they are. Michael Preston just trying to maybe get another lap. Could be so crucial at the end of this race if you can make this first stint go long. That's just what I wonder with Matt Hale, whether it was a problem or whether it was optional that Matt's gone for a short first stint. We did see a couple of drivers try it at Le Mans as a tactic when we knew there was going to be a bit of a bitty splash and dash at some points of the race, and some drivers did opt to go for it early on. As look at this, they're very close indeed between Craig Brown and Andrew Dawson. Andrew Dawson has actually got ahead. That's for the Class 2 lead.
Yeah, he has, and I was just about to ask how this may have come about, because neither of them have reported to the pit lane. And Craig Brown was leading fairly comfortably, Andrew, within that Class 2.
Yes. Oh, bit of a moment there for Craig Brown. Got to get it straightened up. Whoa, well saved there by Craig Brown. That's one of the risks here around this circuit. I find out that if you just go a little bit too quick to come through Skyline, down into the S's, that's what can happen. And sometimes you can throw it in the wall, but at least Craig Brown did not do that on this occasion.
It's easy to feel like you're in a pinball machine if you mess it up over that mountain. It's going to be it's not going to be one hit off the wall. It's going to be several as you shave off the kinetic energy of the vehicle and give yourself a fair bit of damage along the way. So the mountain really is flying by the seat of your pants, as it were. So yeah, it's really quite something over the mountain. It was good for Craig there to recover that one. Otherwise, it could have been, as you're braking there into the dipper section. It all tightens up through that section. Even by the standards of the mountain, it's particularly tight through there. And after the openness, is that JJ Aston going slowly?
And looking like he had a damaged rear wing as well, so I don't know whether I would pit that if I was JJ. I don't know if he's just had a problem. I think I saw that.
Well, no, because I think I saw that a lap or so ago when we noticed Ian Sumner going a bit slow.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's iRacing. I don't know if it's a case of tis but a scratch with the iRacing graphics, but he doesn't seem to be too fussed about that. Giving way to other competitors, though. But who knows? Maybe he'll go in for his first pit stop and then suddenly feel a dramatic increase in his lap times. I don't know. But yeah, another one of our Ferrari runners there, getting nice and close to the wall. That's what we like to see. But yeah, it's the fact that it opens out here, Andrew, through Skyline. The walls suddenly go away from you, and then it tightens up again here into the dipper. And so that's what was, you know, Craig Brown sort of lost it, as it were, in the best place you can over the mountain, but crucially gathered it back up again in time for the dipper.
Oh! And was that Tom Dix? Was that Tom Dix having a spin? Can he get it going again? Oh, nearly getting caught out there by a couple of other drivers. Now, if he just keeps it on that side, he should be able to get out of there.
Oh, he's off the racing line, and he'll get that underway again.
But that's how this place can bite. You can see he's just trying to steady the steering and see that everything is okay. There was another car that I think was involved. Didn't quite catch the number. Just got clipped there. But that is what we were talking about at the top of the broadcast, weren't we, Howard? Of it's going to be a clean run. You must have a clean run to get through this race and get some good, really strong points tonight. Not saying that won't happen for Tom Dix, but he's on the back foot now.
I think it's a case of, I'd maybe, I don't know, phrase it slightly differently insofar as we don't know quite how it's going to play. Maybe you can have, you know, an unclean run, as it were, and still have a good result, but the real zero to hero moments here are going to be the people who can keep it clean.
Yeah.
I think that's the key thing for me. And you're right, of course, at the front you really do need a clean run, because there is going to be a group of people who have that. So you're absolutely right. Dix, he's dropped down to 16th with that. He could still have a good result from there. So it's not one spin and you're out, but that was a costly moment for him. And, you know, he's got to make sure that doesn't play on the mind. He gets back onto the pace. And definitely there are going to be, I hate to say it, but it's kind of a statement of fact when we're talking about Bathurst, there are going to be some people whose races are their race efforts are severely hit by incidents. So yeah, keeping it smooth, keeping it clean, keeping your mind together over the mountain is crucial.
So Josh Ladd still leading by that half-second gap advantage over Charlie Summers. Third place for Michael Preston. The leader started to catch traffic now, Howard, and it's been the key bit, wanting to get by the traffic before they get up the mountain. Yeah,
absolutely. This is a crucial thing that's learned through the 12 hours. Anyone who's done that as well, as they go past David Whitehouse to put a lap, is once you get to this bit here, you don't want to be dealing with traffic if you can at all help it. Or what we spoke about at the top of the stream, patience. If you do have traffic, keep calm. You're not going to win the race by some incredible. I know we saw Matt Hale pulling quite the move through this section earlier, but that is a properly rare event around these parts. It's about staying the course and keeping calm, and also giving room to the traffic ahead of you, because if you've caught up to them, chances are they're going to be slightly less confident, slightly less bold over the mountain. You need to give them the space. There's nothing they can do. They really can't. They can't just jump out of the way over the top of Mount Panorama. So there is a skill to driving this race as they skirt the wall at the exit of Forest Elbow. There's a skill to driving this race beyond just the pace and beyond just passing. It's where do you pass, and crucially, where don't you pass in order to ensure that everyone's at home. That corner they've just been through, Andrew, Forest Elbow, so deceptive on the exit. It's so simple on the map. And yet the way that it just falls away on corner exit, the way that there's no curb to sort of lean up against the wall, so easy to just hit your front right corner off the wall. If you've got the slightest bit of understeer or get on the power a bit too early. Patience, again, is key there.
You're tuned in to live coverage of round 9 of the 2022 Club 100 BUKC iRacing Championship. Andrew Mather and Howard Mitchell on commentary duties for you here tonight on the DDMM YouTube channel. Enjoying the coverage, to give us a like, a follow at Double Dash Motorsport across the social media networks. And big thanks to our sponsors G3 Pro and Simply Catnip for their continued support of this championship. You can still get involved as well. 4 rounds to go after tonight's race here at Mount Panorama. So if you're a Club 100 and or BUKC driver past or present, you can get involved. Search Club 100 iRacing on Facebook or Discord. And I do think we are going to get a bit more of another influx, Howard. I've been doing the rounds in the virtual paddock. More people coming into BUKC in 2022 and 2023 who've been doing some iRacing themselves and sim racing, and you've cut to the ideal man, because James Montgomery was talking about this in the week. He's been doing some sim racing commentary of his own in the Formula Student world. Those drivers who are going to be coming across and doing some BUKC and have been asking, can they get involved? If you're one of those drivers, absolutely. I'm going to say it right here, right now. As soon as you've done your first test day and you're in the BUKC book of many drivers, you can come and join the fun here for the rest of the season. James Montgomery, though, putting Chris Hansen under a lot of pressure and going to be alongside him here down Conrad.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be interesting into the chase, isn't it? We'll stay on board with him here, I think, for a little bit longer. Can he get alongside? Does he get benefit from the side draft as well as the conventional draft from behind as they break into the chase? Does Chris Hansen absorb the pressure and manage not to outbrake himself? He does. I have to say he's been absorbing this pressure from Montgomery for a while now, really well. Montgomery doesn't want to pull in the likes of Tom Edwards and Cameron Watson behind. This is the group that were quite clever. In fact, I say that, and that was a brilliant final corner there from Tom Edwards to bring him right onto the rear of Montgomery. This is, as I say, that second, well, as we've been saying throughout the race, that second grouping, if you like, who are pacing themselves quite nicely. So, really good stuff from them so far. Should say, by the way, the really, really eagle-eyed of you might have seen at the very start of the stream that we didn't list the correct GT3 car on the start board.
Oops.
I suddenly went back in time and decided that it was actually the Ferrari 458 that was the
I
car
missed the
being raced.
458s.
I know, that was just me harking back to the earlier days of GT3. What would be the early 2010s, was that?
Yeah. I
you
also
go.
miss having a charging cable that actually properly works. Apologies for what you just saw on the screen there, everybody. Nobody wants to see a Windows Explorer screen. They want to see a race, and here it is. Half an hour gone. Still a bit early for those first fuel stops. And, well, there is a car in the pits, and it's Murray Adams, who's not been having too much of a happy day so far. And he's in there. If that is a fuel stop or a tactical stop, I'm not quite sure what's happening there. It's going again now. Maybe deciding if he's had a tap with the wall, the damage is just too much, and he's got to get that in now. Means he's going to be a bit out of position. Michael Preston, though, Howard, he's kind of doing what he does. He's got a bit of pressure behind, but he is just soaking it up, keeping it clean, keeping it smooth, holding this third place nicely.
Yeah, and it has to be said as well, Sanders and Maximin are as well behind him, are just doing the right thing as well, I think, at this stage of just, you know, they're keeping the pressure on. They're probably very much liking the hole in the air that's being punched from them ahead with regards to fuel saving. They're just pacing themselves with Preston at this time, and yeah, they're going to see if this race comes their way as we tick through. Now, over a quarter of the way through this 2-hour race. Long way to go, though. A lot of changes to come, of course. Light conditions. You know, we're going to have sunrise. Its own challenges in terms of the light in the driver's eyes in the sim. And also, Andrew, have they got the setting around them, around their sim rig, correct for the changing light conditions?
Yes.
You know, it's often that thing of, you know, they may have started this evening's racing or even practice session in daylight hours UK time in the real world with light streaming through their window. And how's that playing with them in the dark? Have they had to shut the curtains? Have they left some light on that they now can't reach because they're sat in their sim rig? These things happen, and they really can impact your confidence there, as that's down the inside on
It was
Murray Adams.
Murray Adams.
Was Murray Adams fairly recently out the pits?
It's Murray. That wasn't a deliberate thing. Murray just clipped the grass on driver's right, which is a very, very easy thing to do around this circuit. Side by side, Montgomery and Hansen. This is for P7. Montgomery's down the inside and is going to take the position. Great running so far tonight from James Montgomery. Another good overtake in the latter part of the lap. He's up to P7.
Absolutely, mate. Being really bold here so far this evening and putting in some tasty moves. They've got Ian Sumner ahead of them in the 888 for this pack to catch. And it's now James Montgomery who goes to the head of that pack, as that's a pass.
Edwards and Watson. Well. I think it was Edwards defending from Watson. Oh, that's going to get very close. That's Ian Sumner deliberately getting out of the way. I don't think the drivers behind were perhaps quite expecting that to happen. Very gentlemanly driving there from Ian Sumner. But for a moment, that one nearly went 3 wide. On the run. For you, that's the first proper heart in my mouth moment, I think, tonight here on the stream.
Yep.
It won't be the last.
It will not. It will not. But yes, as you say, mate, as they go 3 wide into the cutting is not a thing. That's not a phrase. Not even sure it's physically possible, particularly when we've got the M4s in here so much. But yeah, that was a moment for all concerned. Oh, and the tag on the wall there, I think, as well.
There's a lot of tags on the wall. But as ever, with the BMW, the beautiful thing that it is, you can't actually tell once it's had some panels bent out of shape, because it looks like that when it comes out the showroom. Anyway.
And Andrew's views on BMW styling are not the views of DDMM at large. Just like to make that one clear.
37 and a half minutes gone.
It's a hardy car, I will give you that, sir.
Oh, yes. No, I'd say as a race vehicle.
Of knocks.
A great race vehicle. And I can see why so many people have gone for it tonight. If you enjoyed the stream, do give us a thumbs up on that like button. Here's Andrew Dawson. The man. Now, I'm not gonna reveal what he's told me. But this is a man who we know does the maths, and does the maths very well.
He does.
Was giving me some interesting numbers ahead of tonight. And, well, so far they're serving him well, because look at this. He's got a lead now of some 6 seconds back to Craig Brown in Class 2. It's been the class for less experienced drivers, similar to, say, an old clubman class within Club 100 sprints in real life. Very similar to Class 1 and Class 2 in the lightweight and heavyweight sprints that we have now. He's doing very nicely indeed. Matthew Whitefoot's come into this as well, Howard. Obviously the winner from the last time we had an endurance discipline race at Le Mans didn't have the best of qualifying, but he's worked his way nicely up to 3rd place in class now.
Very much so, mate, yeah. And this is the interesting one about Class 2. In Class 1, we've got these 2 packs of cars who seem to be running, really close. They've sort of broken off into packs and they're sort of pacing themselves against each other. If there's a move on, they'll go for it and stuff like that. Class 2, they've spread out a bit more. It's just about keeping the pace, keeping the pressure on, and keeping that focus. And I think that's in line with what I think we'd expect, is that maybe this particular format is one which perhaps, we see the Class 1 drivers generally filtering through to the front and driving in one particular way, but then we've got the Class 2 drivers where it's more a race of keeping it clean and just keeping those laps ticking, as opposed to the sort of perhaps more of a 2-hour sprint race, as some people might call it, towards the front.
So, based on the 75% tank capacity, so that the car's not running to the maximum 107 litre tank capacity on these cars. So they will be coming in a good way short of the hour.
Yep.
And we've got that tactical option that we've talked about of deliberately doing a short stint and then running it on simple full tanks all the way to the end, which we did see some people try at Le Mans. Here we're with Chris Hansen now. is this the first example of someone trying something a bit different? Chris Hansen in the pits.
He's got some damage to the bonnet, at least as my view says it.
Now, what I will say is that on the scoring, he's gone all the way down to 22nd place. I think Chris Hansen's had a problem here.
Yeah.
That is not a genuine pit stop because he's fallen behind drivers that we know have had problems. So Chris Hansen in trouble. Side by side, going past Alan Curtis there, James Montgomery and Tom Edwards. So that is a real shame for Chris Hansen. I don't know whether it's a disconnect or something like that. We didn't see him have an incident.
I've not seen any notification of a disconnect, mate, so I wonder if he's just glanced at the wall at some point. We did see a couple of laps ago him getting mightily close. In fact, we heard him getting too close to the wall at Forest Elbow a couple of laps ago, so I wonder if maybe he's had a repeat performance that's maybe been a bit more costly to him. But either way, he's lost a heap of time there. Still in the pit lane as well, I believe.
Josh Ladd is... that's what I'm thinking. Is it a very early incident in the lap? That means he's got a long way to tow back. Josh Ladd is extending his lead, Howard. 1.7 seconds is now the gap back to Charlie Summers. Charlie Summers doing a great job, but Josh Ladd is just... he's doing what he does, or what we've seen him do many times in these slightly longer race formats. He starts off at a pace that you think, well, that's pretty quick, and he just winds it up and puts that challenge to the other drivers of, what have you got? What can you do? Can you live with this pace and feel like you can keep it on the road? This is a classic Josh Ladd performance so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Just controlling this one. So measured over the top of the mountain as well. But just manages to produce this incredible speed out of the vehicle whilst doing it.
And it doesn't look like he's overdriving, it doesn't look like he's hacking away at the car. It's all looking very smooth, very content, very controlled. He's got a bit of traffic up ahead of him. I can see, I think it's it might be Sam Dimolo in P22. He's down the road. Remember, we have got our live timing service as well over on the Double Dash Motorsport Media website. We'll get a message in the chat for you about that. Bear with us whilst we sort that one out. You can follow all the drivers where they are relative to one another.
Definitely heard a tag from the wall then from either Edwards or Montgomery ahead of him.
Is Josh Ladd in? I think Josh Ladd is in the pit lane. He is indeed. So, leader pits.
He's not the only one either, Andrew. So, Nathan Maximin is in. Christopher Powell is in the pit lane as well. So, this is clearly the conventional pit window opening up here. Mike Hart is in as well. There's our race leader. Preston leads Sam Sanders now in second place up through the mountain section. Alan Curtis is in the pit lane as well. Oh no, is he? Sorry, he's coming in. He's coming into the pit lane. Sorry, that was an unfortunate cut from the camera. I thought he was in the wall. No.
I just wondered, do we know whether Josh Ladd took tyres there or not? No worries if we don't. We'll find out in due course once this pit lane, pit cycle sorts itself out. Here's Matthew Whitefoot coming in. See Tom Dix just behind as well. Alan Curtis in the pits once more. New leader Charlie Summers coming down Conrod now. Will he pit this lap, or will he try and go round for another? Tyres definitely going on the car in 20th place there. Alan Curtis. Now we've got James Fremont, Craig Brown in as well at the moment.
Yep, have indeed.
And leaders in. So leaders are in. Charlie Summers in the pits. Michael Preston in the pits. And Sam Sanders as well. I say Charlie Summers is in the pits. I've actually got visual on him at the moment. So good work there by Preston and Sanders. In fact, is Craig Summers... I think it's Craig Summers had a disconnect here. Craig Summers has disappeared from the circuit.
Yeah, I don't know where Charlie Summers is, Andrew. That's, yeah.
Well, let's hope that's a glitch at our end, because that would be a real shame for Charlie Summers. Into the pits comes James Montgomery as well. Right behind him is Tom Edwards. I think Tom Edwards give his rib bumper a little tickle there as well.
I think he did. He just went, you've got fast repairs, so, you know, hurry up now.
Where is Josh Ladd on circuit? I think he's gone through and retaken the lead of the race.
I agree. He has indeed. He's just gone through Hell Corner now.
And away go Preston and Sanders as well. So they're all on the same strap. That gap is not big enough to be a difference for tyres, no tyres. They've all done the same thing.
But I still have not got any bearing on Charlie Summers here, Andrew. It would be quite a turn-up given how well he's been going. And we have got, yeah, I'm seeing it now, disconnected. Disconnection for Charlie Summers. That's got to be a disconnect from one of the highest positions I've seen this season. That is so gutting. See very even pit times here, Andrew, which is leaving me thinking that the majority of the field are not taking tyres.
I can kind of understand that though. It's still dark. It's still
Montgomery taking tyres, and you can see Andrew.
Okay.
On the timing tower, you can see the difference. That final column at the moment is showing the stationary time in the pit lane, and you can see how Montgomery's is significantly higher, some 20 seconds higher than everybody else. I'd say he's one of the few drivers to have opted to take tyres on that stop. Yeah,
we'll see how it fares for him now, and what the pace is like. Here's Christopher Powell in that very distinctive blue, black and red livery, number 769. Just ahead of him is Chris Hansen. This is for position.
Hansen had an incident earlier on. You would expect, well, I'd expect Hansen to have good pace though now, Andrew. So it's going to be interesting to see if Powell can keep up to pace himself. Maybe even consider a pass. But yeah, a bit of a recovery drive at the moment for Hansen.
So, Hansen wide there. Hansen wide, and he got away with that one. He may have scraped the pedigree sign a touch, taking a bit of yellow paint with him. But simply Catnip car having a brush there. This is the thing with this circuit, it evolves very quickly. You get the marbles and the bits of grass off the racing line. And you've got to be ready for those changes with the track surface. David Whitehouse has joined the fun here, just on the back of this group. It's looking pretty quick at the moment. Down over the top of the hill.
As we said though, Andrew, obviously there's the disappointment that we do seem to have lost Charlie Summers from this race, but Michael Preston definitely gained on Josh Ladd in that round of stops. Actually, I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm reading my timing screen. He may have gained slightly there. It's 8 seconds now, the gap he's got. That actually means he may have lost a bit of time. But he's still got the close attention to the Sam Sanders working together here through the traffic. And actually, that's a point, because Nathan Maxim, that's what I've noticed from the start. I knew there was something that looked different. Nathan Maximin, here he is, who was previously right with the likes of Preston and Sanders, Andrew, is well off the back of them at this point. but not enough to make me think that it's because he took tyres or anything. He's 8 seconds off the back of
it. Just to make folks aware, I think our championship organisers have been on the Spanish beer. It's still dark. This wasn't part of the plan. We may be going dark all the way here, folks, but it looks pretty. Oh, it's there was a car there that was off to the side of the road. Was it JJ Aston?
He's back to the pits, Andrew.
Yeah.
So yeah, I fear that was another moment. Oh, there's a clout of the walls we cut back there to Playseat and Sanders.
Pushing all the way, these two, as they have been since the start of the race. Yes, I think Ronnie saying how it's 4 a.m. in the morning in the sim.
4 a.m. in the morning in the sim. That means yeah, I agree that that's not quite the plan. That does mean we should get sunlight, though.
Is it still doing its 4 times?
It's still doing the 4 times.
Okay.
So it's already 4:10 in the sim. So we are hurtling through the night, and we should get. We should just about get sunrise into this, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll clock through another 4 hours, so we will get to morning sunrise in this race. But I agree, much greater proportion of this race in the dark than perhaps had been billed.
Not our fault. We don't set the money up. Anyway, here's a car that we haven't looked too much at so far tonight. Oh, and it doesn't
that might be why.
want us to look at it. It's Matthew Cockram
It is.
on his debut here in this championship. Great to have him on board. Our sole Mercedes.
I really thought the Mercedes would be a bit more popular, Andrew, after its its renovation, the Evo model coming out in last season, season 3 of iRacing. I thought that maybe it would be chosen by a few more coming into this evening. This is the sole Mercedes that we've got. It's quite a. I think Mercedes is a very different GT3 to quite a few of the others. You know, it can feel quite heavy. I feel the balance off throttle is with throttle you've not quite got the same. I feel the changes in dynamics, the changes in the steering dynamics of the car are far different off throttle than in other GT3 cars. But some drivers just love the balance that they can get with it, and they're able to utilise. This is the thing I love about GT3 in general. The cars and the driving sims, the cars can feel quite different, but they've each got their strengths, and different people can work the characteristics of the car to their advantage. And people will have a preference. Everybody will have some kind of preference. And I'm glad to see Matthew out there in the Mercedes, because it's good to have the. It's always good to have as many. I just love the diversity of the field that you can get in GT races. It's good to see. Good to see that all 4 of the cars that were available to the guys got some. Getting some love out there this round. I do find it can be an acquired taste, that Mercedes.
Indeed. 55 minutes of the race gone. Approaching the halfway stage here for round 9 of the 2022 Club 100 and BUKC iRacing Championship. As I say, we've got a good amount of content coming up over the coming few months. Although we have got a weekend off this weekend.
We do, yeah.
It's remarkable. But as I say, plenty of Club 100 related activities coming up. We will have a trip down to Llandau in 2 weekends' time for some endurance racing. We then have our next Club 100 Cadets and Juniors stream on the weekend of the 1st and 2nd of October. So the Club 100 stream will be on the 2nd. Howard and John Ratcliffe will be down at Clay Pigeon for that one. There is something happening, not Club 100 related, on the 1st. Keep noted. That announcement is coming soon. Following weekend, 8th and 9th of October, double duty. Racing on the Saturday for the endurance effort at Wilton Mill, and then we'll be on the mics for the sprints, senior sprints on the Sunday. As Craig Brown gets very close there to the back of Murray Adams. And then, let's say, we're going to Ella Park as well at the end of October for another double duty of racing and commentary there on a seniors weekend. And then likewise to finish the season on the 12th and 13th of November. Interspersed between all of those bits, we've got the remaining rounds of this championship. And I should confirm, because we have had some dates move around for that due to availabilities of various people key to the operation. And whilst I'm finding that, how have we got a move potentially coming in here from Chris Hansen?
We do indeed. Chris Hansen's been able to catch up to the back of Craig Brown and he's going to attempt the move there into Griffin, but I don't think he's got the job done yet. He's still giving room to Brown, but I think they are going to stay side by side here into well, as they start to go up the mountain. And still side by side somehow through the quarry corners. And Craig Brown is not giving this one up easily at all. And fair play to him, he's well within his rights to hang in there, but side by side pretty much all the way through the cutting and through the quarry corner. That is unusual. Now over the top of the hill they have to.
Oh, big off!
Moment there for Chris Hansen, and he manages to hold it together. Oh my goodness me. Do you know what, Andrew? I think, not passing judgment in any way on it, but I think perhaps on this recovery drive, having had the incident, Hansen maybe thought that move was a bit more on than it turned out to be.
And they've got the race leaders behind him now as well. Josh Ladd trying to come through the traffic. That, to me, just looked like the classic scenario of when you turn in that minute amount too early on the run through Skyline there. I said big off because I thought Chris Hansen was going off driver's right in a big way there. Side by side between Brown and Hansen. Now, has Brown slowed down there? He's got some form of slowdown penalty. It'd be remarkable if he's managed to get a slowdown penalty there. Has he got a problem? He's coming into the pits, I think. I think he has got a problem because David Whitehouse has gone through as well. It's very strange for Craig Brown, but he's in the pits. Going back to Chris Hansen, I do think he's got away with one there quite majorly.
Yeah, and definitely. And to see Craig Brown now pitting, it's easy to be Mr. Hindsight. I wonder if maybe fought that one a bit more than was needed to fight that much over the mountain, as that looks like JJ Aston back onto the pit lane as well. But
yes.
A moment for the leaders as well, which has seen, Andrew, Preston catch up to the back of Ladd as much as we have seen in this race.
It has, and Sam Sanders is now challenging Michael Preston as well. You can see Sam Sanders on the lights there, championship leader, wanting to get on with this.
Yeah, indeed. Sorry, I still keep misreading the time screen. It is indeed second place that's closed on as much as we have seen so far. That would have lost a little bit of time.
Yes.
This battle now in second place. Sam Sanders, we saw flashing the headlight, heading up Mountain Straight towards Griffin's Bend at turn number 2. They'll apply just a bit of pressure. David Thompson just ahead of him. No, it's not. Sorry, that's Matt Hale, because it's a Porsche, Howard, not a Mercedes. Sorry, that is Matt Hale. I feel bad now, particularly because of that lovely logo he's sporting on the rear of that Porsche.
He's just going to pull over and let the leaders go through. Good opportunity this actually for Michael Preston. Well, it was, because now Sam Sanders has got through. We're into the second hour of the race here at Mount Panorama. Round 9 of the 2022 Club 100 and BUKC iRacing Championship. Kindly sponsored by G3 Pro and Simply Catnip. And Club 100 as well, providing prizes as well. Strongest drivers in Class 1 and Class 2 across the course of this season both get a free race entry next year into a Club 100 Endurance Championship race of their choice. I don't think we actually we talk about the prize winners from last year, Howard, because they recently had their run out in the Endurance Championship at Clay Pigeon.
Yes, they did, didn't they? It was not too long ago. We saw them taken to the track. So just aware of some activity on the pit lane as well. So today it's David Whitehouse who's pitted at the top of the hour, interestingly. Oh, and side-by-side action as well. Sorry, Andrew. What? We can cover up Clay Pigeon a bit. Yeah, the endurance, is that a pass there?
Yes, it is.
Through on Tom Edwards into help. So Ferrari ahead of BMW. But yes, indeed, it was Clay Pigeon. I'm just trying to remember how long ago Clay Pigeon was actually, because we've had a few events since then.
It's round 4.
So we're going back a couple of months now.
Off there on
Tom
the
Edward,
mountain.
Tom Edward.
He's just about got it sorted. That is pretty. Whoa! This is the difficult thing when it's the cutting. Well, just about everybody's got away with that, and we avoid a safety car, but a mistake there from Edwards. Lost him a couple of positions, and he'll have splitter damage as well from that one.
Competing as Club 100 iRacing, round 4 of the Endurances, our winners from last season, and finished 12th.
12th overall.
12th overall, and it was they were in the running for a class podium within that race. They finished 6th within, and you and I know this well, Andrew, the highly competitive club class that they have within the Endurances. So to finish 6th in that field is not too shabby at all.
We did miss an opportunity
though. In that?
We should have registered them as DDMM.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
We could have got more points.
We could have got more points.
50.
We had the I in our name.
Yeah.
Oh no, we don't. Not in that championship.
Moving swiftly on. 1 hour and 4 minutes of the race gone. Tom Edwards recovering. Here's a good battle. This is Tom Dix looking down the inside of James Fremont. That's a very late one. There's a tag and they've gone off. They've both gone off. And off there, well, back on comes Tom Dix. I would hand that back if I were you, Tom. Because I think James Fremont had that corner, really. It was a bit of a desperate lunge for Tom Dix. You're right, Howard. The leader is coming to lap these two. There we go. It's another corner. Very on a track map from above. It looks very simple. They're like, oh yeah, that's a big braking zone. Dive down the inside. All good. Get an easy move done. But driver awareness and the fact that it really tightens quick on the entry to the corner. I think for Tom Dix, he just needed to be a bit further alongside going through and into the braking zone than he was there on James Fremont.
Yeah, absolutely. Not sure what just happened to Craig Brown then, Andrew.
Yeah.
He was in the pit lane. He's disconnected.
Oh.
There's a disconnect. Craig Brown. And again, clearly running second in class is not where you want to be this evening for your internet connection. That is a gutting disconnect for Craig, because he had been running really well. We saw him feistily defending his position over the mountain a few laps ago. He had to report to the pit lane with damage, but he just went back into the pit lane then, Andrew, and he has now disconnected. So I don't know if he had to pull into the pit lane. There was a more fundamental problem than just the internet connection that meant he had to disconnect.
Yeah, possibly.
Doing really well.
Tom Edwards on pit lane. Howard, I think this is because the car has got a bit of damage from that incident, but it'll...
I think it's crabbing, isn't it?
Yes.
That is not a straight driving
yes.
BMW.
No, look at the steering wheel. He's a long way left hand down. I think that's had a secondary tap with the wall that's put the steering out. Well, he'll get it repaired quickly, and he'll top the tanks off. Now, how many minutes? Oh, I think it's going to be too far. It's going to be too far to get to the end of the race. 53 minutes on a tank of fuel with the fuel restrictions that are put on the field here tonight. As we're looking at here, this is Chris Hansen having some moments. Is he in trouble as well? Past go Preston and Sanders there. That's not for position. It's
just overtakes Edwards in the pits there. As you say, the battle for second place has just gone through on him.
Something doesn't look quite right to me, Howard, on the rear axle of Chris Hansen's car. It just looked a bit all over the place through Hell Corner. Let's see how it runs through here. This is a sequence of the circuit where you need good traction and good vehicle handling. Looks okay now. It's been a tough night so far for Chris Hansen.
Yeah, seems to be all right now, doesn't it? Oh, it's twitchy. It is twitchy. Either that or that was a moment. I don't know. Is that tyres? I wonder.
Could be.
To a certain extent. Has he just run them a little too hard? You know, he's been pushing, of course, to get himself back up the field. But something seems a bit unsteady for the time being for Chris.
You can see Matt Hale 3 cars ahead as well. That is not going to be for position, I don't think, because Matt is currently scored in 19th position. No, it's not Matt Hale. Actually, it is for position ahead of Chris Hansen. Here is Matt Hale. He's further back down the circuit. It's just got. I think that was the recovering Edwards behind him.
Oh, this is close. This is very close now. Still between for second place. Sam Sanders is going to stick with it for now. Is this classic sprint racing tactics? Well, no, it's endurance racing tactics as well, to sort of pace yourself off a fellow competitor. But I'm fascinated to see how this one goes between Preston and Sanders. Whether they can in any way take the fight to Josh Ladd at the head of this field, who we have to acknowledge was being put under real pressure by Charlie Summers, of course.
Yeah.
It's quite a shame that we saw Summers disconnect. In fact, here he is. Oh my goodness me! That's Charlie Summers, just as we're with him, and he was drifting through Hell Corner.
Why not? Why not?
Drifting through Hell. Is what was going on there? So he's reconnected. He's in 14th place. His pace is pretty good compared to those around him. So it'll be interesting to see how he does now, Andrew. Perhaps racing a bit more just for the fun of it at this point. We've got a few disruptions in the field at this point. Drivers who have got not as much to lose as they did before, really trying to push. As that's a pass for position. That's James Montgomery going through on Andrew Dawson.
Yep.
takes Montgomery up into 7th place.
Interesting few laps this now for Montgomery, because Montgomery took tyres at the first stop. Now with a bit of clear air, what can he do? Next car up the road is Cameron Watson. The gap is 10 seconds. And I'd be interested to see what Monty's pace is like in comparison to the likes of Mike Hart, who I think I'm right in saying did not take tyres at the first stop.
Yeah, so it was quicker last time around, Andrew, to the tune of 1.3 seconds in favour of Montgomery. So you are seeing the impact of that grip. But he may have had a bit of helping hand if he was catching up onto the back of Andy Dawson, but that is quite the pace difference between the more freshly shod car of Montgomery. Definitely one to watch.
See the precision there. Entering Skyline and now down through the S's. Getting the speed off back down into 2nd gear. Through this incredible sequence of corners, unlike anything else in the world. Through Forest Elbow now, trying to tuck it in, get in on that gully on the inside, then power out of Forest Elbow. Look as far ahead as you can see down Conrod Straight. And then you always take a bit of a breath, don't you? Just before you set the car up for this fast right-hand kink. We'll jerk out just to the left there. Use all of the tarmac available. Look at those board markers on the side. Brake hard down into 3rd gear. Through the chase. Really good stuff this from James Montgomery. He's in good form.
And I think that highlights for me as well, Andrew, what you were saying about the chase earlier on. You look at it on the map and oh, it's just a big heavy braking zone. There's a right-hand kink at the end of that Conrod Straight as you head into the chase, and it's also the crest of a slight hill. So just as you're getting to the point where you're going, I think I should probably be braking soon, the car's light going over a crest. You're right on the limit there, pushing it through that fast-paced right-hander. It is not a simple corner at all, the chase. Tom Dix now, though, on the tail of James Fremont.
Yeah, round 2 from what we saw earlier. And Tom Dix is going to try and set one up and force Fremont to the inside there. No, well defended that by James Fremont, but he's gone deep and off the circuit. It's going to be a chance for Tom Dix to get through, and that's like taking candy from a baby. That was easy for Tom Dix in the end, through and into 10th place.
And unlike the last time we saw those two together at that very corner, Andrew, that was fairly won there by Tom Dix, and moves himself up into the top 10.
I just wonder, was that a bit part down to tyres? You know, you go to that left-hand side, on the inside, it's a bit grubbier down there. There's not as grip when you're trying to brake for the chase. And I just wonder whether that's caught James Fremont out there. He recovered well, kept it pointing in the right direction, didn't spin it, but of course he has lost that position now. On board now with Murray Adams. Chris Hansen just ahead of us. And then James Fremont, who is now in 11th place. And again, the Hansen BMW, it seems very loose. It doesn't seem stable. Especially through this part of the course. You can see the number of steering adjustments that Chris is having to make at the moment.
So, even though I've lapped this circuit a fair few times, Andrew, I'm still amazed by how close we get to the walls around here. And you know who else has arrived on this pack, actually? Behind Murray Adams is a certain Charlie Summers, formerly of 2nd place.
Formerly of the lead.
Formerly of the lead, yes, sorry, indeed. Having had that disconnect, is probably a man on a mission, and he's going to try and look for a way through early on in Conrod Straight.
Yeah, he's not messing around here, is Charlie Summers. Down Conrod, side by side with Murray Adams. Who's going to yield as they go towards the kink here?
Is there a move ahead as well between Hansen and Fremont as they come into the chase?
He's got it done. Hansen goes through.
Raymond's gone deep again, though, Andrew. Again, though. And that's going to be an opportunity for Summers to get two in almost as many corners. I think Andrew Dawson has gone onto the pit lane for a stop.
Great move round the outside.
Oh, and there's contact.
Contact between Adams and Fremont. Rough couple of corners there for James Fremont. As in, as you say, is Andrew Dawson. That is, yeah, you can get home from there. 44 minutes on the fuel. So Dawson getting the work done. Wonder what he's done on tyres there. So Murray Adams here. Nice living is running tonight there on the 210. Has plugged away at this race very nicely. If you consider that once everybody stops, I think he'll be emerging in third place in the class for Class 2, scoring some more strong points in Class 2.
Just follow up on that Dawson stop based on the pit time, Andrew. That is a taking of tyres there. Stop number 2.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see.
Got to remember as well, Howard, that in terms of the scoring at the moment, Murray Adams sat in 12th place in the point standings but missed round 3. He's only been off the class podium at rounds where he's been present twice this season. It's a strong run that he's putting together. I still think he's a factor in Class 2 Championship for at least a top 3 in that subclass, and if he can keep this kind of form going and keep getting those points on the board. I remember him last year in the GT3s around Barcelona being very quick, for example. He's got a chance here. He's got a real chance of a Class 2 Championship win.
Yep. No, definitely the case, Andrew. Will be definitely something to look at when the drop scores start to really come into effect towards the end of this season. Here's another man, though, I want to draw attention to, though, Andrew. Our current Class 2 leader, our Class 2 winner at Le Mans, Matthew Whitefoot at the moment.
We're going to start calling him Mr. Enduro.
We are, aren't we?
This has been a great performance from Whitefoot so far. 42 minutes of the race to go. What sim time are we on now, Howard? Are we any closer?
It's 5 to 6 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Which, if memory serves correctly, doesn't the race begin at about 6:30 Australian time? There we go. We're nearly at the start of the race. Oh, as Murray Adams is in the pit lane, Andrew.
Yep. This is in the scheduled pit window. So I'm not too concerned about this at the moment. Here's that Fremont-Edwards battle. Tom Edwards closing in. Had that spin at the cutting earlier on. So we'll find a way through here. Down through what I believe will be the S's. Closing in all the time. Got to be patient here though. Cannot really overtake the run down through the dipper and then into Forest Elbow, but you can get a move done if you get the run out of Forest Elbow right. That's looking pretty good for Tom Edwards. James Fremont's going to start feeling a little bit punch drunk here down through Coltwell, down Coltwell straight and then into the chase. Edwards is closing. Fremont shows him two drivers right, and I think he's going to fight that one, recognising that that's a Class 1 driver, a driver with more pace at this stage of the race. Sensible stuff there from James Fremont. Means that Edwards is up to 12th.
Indeed, and I think Fremont should focus on that fact, Andrew, the man sat third in Class 2 coming into tonight. The overtakes that have been happening have largely been Class 1 runners who have had some kind of drama before them and are working their way back up through the field. So I think he can be happy at the moment. Running, let's not forget, running second in Class 2 at the moment.
Have we had a change for second place?
We have had a change for second place. because this is Sam Sanders pushing hard out of the cutting and through quarry. And as you very correctly point out, right, he is in second place now.
Very good run so far from Sam Sanders, and he'll like getting that position at this phase of the race where we'll start to think about that second fuel stop. We're starting to think as well about how much fuel will you need to get to the end. Remember, this is a race run on time, not by laps. So if the leader crosses the line with 5 seconds of time on the clock remaining, they'll go for an extra lap. Easy thing is to stick a bit more fuel in and make sure that you're going to get that extra lap. But that is all crucial bits of time, and when you're in Sam Sanders and Michael Preston's situation, it's been very close throughout this race. Do you take that risk?
Both Tom Dix and Alan Curtis on the pit lane and taking tyres, Andrew. So it looks like this 2 stops with tyres taken at the second stop is got a fair few subscribers to it.
Yep. William Cook describes it's summer time.
Nice. Maybe he needs a bit of work as a pump, but I'm liking it.
Matthew Cochran, I think that is just ahead of them in the 3-2-1 debutant. And Cochran will just hold to one side. So go round again. And is this going to be a run for Michael Preston? Is he going to have a chance here? Can he get to the inside? No, I think it'd be a bit of a brave one to send it all the way from back there. So wants to just follow. Sanders a touch wide there. Gets it back under control before they get to the cutting. They are pushing hard here in these BMWs. Good line there from Michael Preston. On board with Michael Preston now through this wonderful sequence of corners. No real opportunities to overtake through this part of the course, but an opportunity to put Sam Sanders under pressure here. Into Skyline they go. Tighter line from Preston, but nowhere through at the moment. No way to get through. I think that's Alan Curtis just ahead of them, who will be a back marker. Sanders, you can see how much he's pushing to keep Michael Preston behind here. They're going to catch the back marker as they come out of Forest Elbow now.
Bearing in mind he's on an out lap, Andrew, at least very freshly out the pits is Curtis.
Sam Sanders on the lights there, letting Alan Curtis know that he's there. He wants to get through as soon as possible. This is a key phase of the race for both of these drivers, fighting for second place here. Sam Sanders, championship leader, trying to extend his championship lead. Preston follows through. That was mighty from Michael Preston, but he had to do it. He had to stay on the rear bumper of Sam Sanders. Are they going to come in this time? They did go a lap longer than Josh Ladd last time around, so yeah, they go on again. This has been a great scrap all the way from lap 1, Howard.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just run and run, and we spoke about concentration. My goodness, these two have had to have concentration throughout. And just as you were talking about how a pass wasn't really on over certain bits of the mountain, I couldn't help but think, I was like, yes, but washing out whilst you're in the dirty air of another competitor definitely is on over the mountain. And it's worth bearing that in mind, how neither of these drivers, they've both spent a significant amount of time sat behind each other over the top of this course. They haven't missed a beat. They have not, skirted wide in that turbulent air. They have not lost control of the vehicle at all. It's been really quite impressive as we begin, Andrew, to see some semblance of natural light over this circuit.
Yeah. It's only an hour and 6 minutes late in this race, but there we go. Hello to Matthew Graham as well. The king of BUKC memes is here, ladies and gentlemen, and he says that Summertime just took 5 years off his life expectancy. Well, I'm sorry that I've done that to you, Matt. And that a Michael Preston bottle job is incoming. Well, I'm not sure about that.
I know. I'm not sure the pun was so bad it should take that much off.
But yes, again, Sam Sanders on the lights. It's to the driver, the back marker ahead, to let them know that there's two very fast BMWs approaching. I think it's Ian Sumner ahead in the 888 Ferrari. As Michael Preston goes down the inside into the chase. Can he get it done on the brakes? He's got to be careful on the exit as well. Skirts the grass there. Great move from Michael Preston into second place.
Yeah, beautifully done stuff there. As Ian Sumner duly getting out of the way to allow them through. Good driving from him. But beautiful move there. Textbook move, one might say, into the chase. Made it look easy, but as we've covered multiple times over the course of this race already, Andrew, it's not.
It's a good stage of the race, Howard. Dessert has arrived. Very good stage of the race. Thank you very much, dear. 34 minutes of the race to go. See, this is the stuff that you don't get on Formula 1. Don't normally get it on a real life Club 100 stream.
I'm waiting for the equivalent time of the race for myself. I've already had this. It's fine. It's all good. You don't get it on the Formula 1. Maybe you should. Maybe you should.
Work for test match special. That's all I'll say.
Crucial early part of this lap here, Andrew.
Yeah.
Because I would say that Preston has suddenly put the hammer down.
He has, rather.
It's out to 0.8 of a second already, this gap.
Matt Hale in the pits as well. The sun's beginning to rise here at Bathurst for the latter stages of this race.
The crowd going nuts there ahead of the pit lane.
The key for me, I think, is seeing when is Josh Ladd going to come in. I mean, he's comfortable at the moment. He's got a 15-second lead. So who we got there coming in? Sam Dimolo. Sam Dimolo into the pits. Good run so far from Sam tonight in the top 20.
That was actually a pass for position you just saw between those two.
Oh, nice.
And a beautiful pass back there for Matt Hale. Nicely done.
They all count. They all count, even in the pit lane. Into the leader. So here come right on cue is Josh Ladd. What a drive this has been. I mean, we've seen some special drives from Josh Ladd over the past few years in this championship. Michael Preston inherits the lead of the race, but owes us a pit stop. You would imagine in the next 2 laps that would occur, as in comes Nathan Maximin as well. I think it's fair to say, Howard, he's having one of his strongest runs in the Club 100 BUKC iRacing Championship so far. It's up there in P4.
Definitely, as Chris Hansen also joins him on the pit lane. But yeah, great drive from Nathan, another driver that we've been honoured to have with us on our DDMM Barnstormers efforts before as well.
When you want to go fast, you put Nathan in the car. That's generally how it works. Here's Mike Hart.
As well, as Josh Ladd has gone back out onto the track. Let's take a quick look at the pit times. That was a short stop, that last one for Josh Ladd, Andrew. So I've got to ask the question, has Ladd taken tyres at all?
No, I don't think he has. But I think this is slightly the issue with whatever's happened with the start time of the race, is that it has taken some of the tyre fun away. And means that Josh Ladd is able at the moment to just bring this one under his own control. 30 seconds is the gap up the road to Michael Preston, so that's not enough for Michael Preston or Sam Sanders to get in and out ahead of Josh Ladd.
It'll be interesting to see, though, Andrew, what those two battling over second place do. Do you try and stick the tyres yourself, or do you do the same things, get the same results? Do you throw the new rubber on, see if you can take the fight in the last half hour of this race?
I just wonder as well, do you pit this lap to force the issue onto the other driver if you want to be that aggressive nature?
Class 2 leader in.
To the opposite to the driver ahead. As you say, yes, Matthew Whitefoot is in, Class 2 leader.
race leader Charlie Summers is in the pit lane as well.
As Steve's just put in the chat, it was meant to be sunrise an hour ago and a hot track to the flag. Hopefully everyone has enjoyed some mega tyre wear. In now is James Fremont. He's having a really good run as well. He should cycle Andrew Dawson back into podium position and Murray Adams as well.
Cycles Andrew Dawson into
the lead.
Class lead. They're now equal on stops within those Class 2 runners, aren't they? So
yes.
I would say that what you can see there is a legitimate battle there for seconds. Just see Matthew Whitefoot in the background there. That is a gap of 5 seconds between these two. That is your lead battle there in Class 2 to the end, all things being equal.
Just under half an hour to go, getting lighter and lighter all the time here at Bathurst. If you've enjoyed watching the racing tonight and you want to get involved yourself, you can do. Search for details on Facebook, the Club100 iRacing group on there, with all the drivers. And a good amount of advice being given as well. If you're new to sim racing or you're interested in getting involved, do head across there, get as part of the group, as part of the discussion. As into the pits come both Michael Preston and Sam Sanders at the same time. So this is a real pickle now. What do you do?
What do you do? Yeah. Do you put tyres on, or do you triple stint?
I think you triple stint. I think, considering that it has been dark all the way through and cool all the way through, if the tyres feel good at this stage, you've only got 28 minutes to do on the tyres, you go for it, and you just take fuel.
I don't dispute that they're quite nice track temperatures. Have we noted the track temperature's actually gone down since it was dark?
There we go. Definitely. In that case, you definitely keep the tyres on. Away goes Preston, and right on cue there goes Sanders as well.
No change there, really, at all.
So they carry on the sprint. The remaining 27 minutes now and 5 seconds on the clock.
And they're just in the camera shot, Andrew. I wonder if we have two of the tastiest battles that we've got from now until the end. The battle for second and then the battle for the Class 2 win. Because we had just behind them as they came out of the pits the sight of Andrew Dawson and Matthew Whitefoot. As James Montgomery now is on the pit lane for his final stop.
Surely we'll just go for fuel on this one as well. Before we get into, because the last time we tried to run through the rest of the calendar, it all kicked off. Oh heck, here we go. Remaining events for 2022 as we're on board with Chris Hansen, David Whitehouse just ahead. 4 more of them after we finish up here tonight at Bathurst. We'll be back in 3 weeks' time. It'll be the TCRs back out at Monza. That is going to be very interesting. Slipstream ahoy for the TCRs with the sprint format. Very much looking forward to that. October 12th, the last run out of the year. All of these ones remaining are last run outs of the year for these various cars. The TCRs at Monza. Formula 3s at Red Bull Ring on October 12th. That'll be good. We've then got 2 rounds in November. November 16th, the penultimate round of the season, and into Lagos. It's a 2x40 race meeting in the GT3s round into Lagos. And then the finale. I'm very happy with this finale because I still feel this should be the place where all championships finalise. It's Suzuka on the 30th of November, and it's our classic. It's the original. It's the OG of Club 100 in iRacing. It is the sprint format, the 3 races, and it's the Mazda MX-5 that'll wrap us up. As I say, there on the 30th of November. If you've not got yourself involved yet and you want to, details are in the description below. It'd be great to have you along. Here's Chris Hansen, though, in the Simply Catnip car, getting alongside David Whitehouse in the 777. This should be a fairly slam dunk move for Chris Hansen before they get to the kink. Whitehouse is going to maybe have a think down the inside. That's a good move there from Chris Hansen. He's up to 12th.
Yeah, nicely done. Oh, as
Josh Ladd's been in. What has happened here? Josh Ladd. Fuel? Has he got his fuel calcs wrong? Something has happened here with the race leader-elect. Well, that puts the cat among the pigeons, and the gap is 11 seconds.
I don't understand. Is what I'll say there.
It's got to be fuel. It's got to be that he's realised that he's short-fueled. And that he's coming for a splash and dash. Well, a very uncharacteristic error, if that is the case, from Josh Ladd, which has also put Sam Sanders in the lead of the race. There's a bit of change between Sanders and Preston. Sam Sanders has taken the lead of the race. What drama here at Mount Panorama all of a sudden, and he's got quite a lead as well. Wow.
I think it might have been, Andrew, I think it might have been damage.
Yeah.
I'm going off of some chat that we've got here in the lot. I think there was damage to Josh Ladd's car there.
Okay.
And that would make sense as well with the pit stop time, because I was just looking at his pit time. It was like 3 seconds he was stationary for.
Yeah.
Which would be the only thing that can be for is a fast repair.
Yeah.
So I think that was damage whilst going past some traffic, and we just didn't see it. But it has really opened up this race with 23 minutes left to go.
It has. I mean, you look at the gap, it's 12 seconds now back to Josh Ladd. I mean, yes, he has been the quickest driver across the course of the race so far, but he hasn't been pulling 12 seconds in the space of 23 minutes fast versus the likes of Sanders and Preston. Here he is on board now. It's a 2:27.73 last time around. Don't worry yourselves about that. That was an out lap. Kind of don't consider that one, but this next lap, let's see what kind of pace Josh Ladd has got now in his BMW. Into turn 2 he goes. Well. I mean, it was looking comfortable. It was under control. Josh Ladd had a 15-second lead. We're thinking, here we go. This is the start of the end of season charge, perhaps, for Josh Ladd, champion last year.
I've got to say as well, Andrew, Sam Sanders has not only got by, but he's pulled out a gap on Preston, similar to that which we saw Preston pull out on Sam when he last executed a pass as well. This is going to be crucial here. I mean, Sam's just hit up against traffic here as well.
Traffic that's fighting as well. It's very close out there. I think it's Tom Edwards just ahead. JJ Aston as well. And I also just wonder for Sam Howard on fuel. He spent a lot of that second stint tucked under the rear bumper of Michael Preston, able to fuel save through slipstreaming. That's some great work through the traffic from Sam. That yes, there was a bit of that back and forth, but ultimately he could see Michael Preston ahead of him. Probably knew, well, Michael's going to have used more fuel here than me. I'll just put my foot down whenever he does to cancel my fuel replenishment, get back out ahead of him, and have less, well, maybe a little bit more fuel and ability to push on in this latter stage of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. And the only counterpoint to that, of course, is that by spending that time as well over the mountain, we spoke about how he didn't go into the wall whilst he was in the wash of Preston ahead of him. It does mean he's put slightly more strain on his tyres, so he's saved the fuel, but he'll have loaded those tyres just a little bit more over the course of that stint. So there's always a trade-off with these things, but yeah, fascinating to see now. Fascinating to see what happens in the last 20 minutes of this race. 7:20 in the morning sim time.
On board with Matthew Whitefoot, who's driven a brilliant race here in Class 2, currently second place in Class 2. That's Charlie Summers ahead. That's a Class 1 driver who previously led this race, was pushing Josh Ladd to the tune of half a second being the gap earlier on this evening. At the moment, Whitefoot is keeping up with him.
Yep, absolutely fantastic reflection of his pace in this one. Maybe not a little bit shaky there through Forest Edge. Forest Elbow. There was a slip. And not that I'm dropping hints for where I want Club 100 to go next year, but 6 seconds up the road from us here is Andrew Dawson leading the class. Still plenty of pressure to be applied in Class 2. And Whitefoot's been doing a fantastic job, no doubt.
Just looking at the relative pace between our leaders last time around, Sam Sanders a 2-minute 4.06, Preston a 2-minute 4.27, Josh Ladd 2-minute 4.01. So yes, Ladd is quicker, but nowhere near at the rate he needs to close in this gap.
He needs them to fight. He needs them to start fighting. That's the only way he's going to come into this, I think, at this point. My goodness.
And a reminder before tonight, after 8 rounds, Sam Sanders stood on top of the... He's pushing now. He is pushing now as the Yaz Heat driver, flashing the lights to JJ Ace in the head to say, I'm coming and I'm on a charge here. Not messing around anymore is Josh Ladd. 775 points on the board for Sanders before tonight. 100 points for a round victory here in the Club 100 and BUKC iRacing Championship. 15 points was his lead over Michael Preston. He could be going out to 17 points here tonight. Josh Ladd having a... I mean, he's got to throw everything at this now. But is he risking too much? Score for Josh Ladd so far, 675. So effectively, he is a race round win behind. But he did sit out round number 2, which he'll use as a drop score later in the year. On the helicam now. Dipping down through. You see the rear axle stepping out there. Josh Ladd using every single inch of this circuit and a little bit more through Forest Elbow there, back down Conrod Straight once again, but the gap is just not coming down, Howard. It's still there at 12.5 seconds.
Yeah, and Sam Sanders is doing a fantastic job of dealing with the traffic up ahead as well. So it's hard to see, Andrew, at the moment where Josh Ladd is going to find the benefit here as Tom Dix is in the pits. I think that's damage. I think he's had to recover back to the pits. I think Tom Dix has had to tow. So that looks like some damage on his Ferrari. So something there has befallen his race.
Yeah, it might put him out the top 20 now.
You can say then. Just to highlight here that Cameron Watson at the moment is the sole non-BMW representative in the top 10, 15. You have to go down to 17th place of Matthew Cockram in the Mercedes before you find another non-BMW runner.
Indeed. Matthew Graham has corrected me. Absolutely. Of course, he has now switched to Williams as Josh Ladd. He's not updated his profile. That's what caught me out.
Ah.
There we go. Divert from that one. Cameron Watson, though, this has been one of the drivers of the night for me.
Yeah.
BMW, I think we can all agree, is still, even after the BOP updates, the preferred car around this circuit. But not for Cameron. Driving there nicely in 7th place. Oh no, now this is not planned. That is James Montgomery missing the complete front end of his BMW.
It is that, yes. And whilst it might be good for cooling, I understand it's suboptimal for aerodynamics. And so he will have to pull in and he'll get the fast repair. There it is. But still, it's effectively a drive-through that you get.
Yeah.
Or a stop-go, I suppose. A stop-go, more accurate. Oh, Tom Dix is disconnected.
Right.
Tom Dix has showed up as a disconnect. So that is another person. Had quite a few in this round, Andrew. Sorry to report that I've just seen a notification that Tom Dix is disconnected. Meanwhile...
Oh dear, it's getting very tense at the front for Sam Sanders. Michael Preston has closed in that gap, probably through the traffic, and there's more traffic to come up here. 15 minutes to go. Hearing from Blaze Colour that Tom Dix span in front of James Montgomery, onto who does stream on Twitch, so I think that's what's happened there. But meanwhile, for the lead of the race, for the round win, Michael Preston. You've got to say at this stage, Howard, Michael Preston needs the race win more than Sam Sanders.
Yeah, they're going to hit upon Whitefoot over the mountain here as well, Andrew. As you observed earlier on, his pace isn't shabby, but in a slightly awkward place here, I reckon.
And Whitefoot's not necessarily just going to jump out the way here, because he's got his own race going on.
Pushing.
Yeah.
He is pushing. Make no mistake about it. He wants to keep that pressure on Andrew Dawson. Oh, why have we got smoke in the air?
I have got smoke. Indeed, as someone had an engine failure up ahead. May well, because there's more smoke there. It looks like the pink Ferrari's struggling. Of Ian Sumner. There's Andrew Dawson. There's your lead. That's your leader in Class 2. Then Charlie Summers, Matthew Whitefoot behind, and then the two race leaders.
I'm not sure why there was a bit of smoke. There's definitely some smokiness in the air over the mountain then, but it's cleared itself. They've now got by Matthew Whitefoot, have our lead too.
7 laps to go is what I have, Howard. 7 laps of Mount Panorama for this to be decided. And I tell you what, the gap's coming down here. It's down to 10 seconds back to Josh Ladd. So he's got to turn that through at, what did you say, about 1.3 seconds a lap. Oh, there is someone smoking heavily in the pit lane. Change for 8th place overall. And it's Alan Curtis.
It's Alan Curtis.
Alan Curtis has had a problem and is majorly on fire in the pit lane and looks to be out of this race. Back at the front of the order.
I have to say, I have no experience of being heavily on fire in the pit lane at Bathurst, do you?
Too soon, mate. Too soon. Oh, a bit of traffic for the leaders. Ian Sumner just pulls over to one side. Leaders navigated that well. As there's a flurry of cars coming into the pits here involving Nathan Maximan's one of them. So I think there's been an incident here involving Nathan Maximan, Chris Hansen, and was that David Whitehouse in the pits as well?
Yep. Yeah, it is. Drama plenty here in the pit lane. So Alan Curtis is back underway. There you go. He's got his engine back.
It's alive.
What?
Good engine swaps there. So that's going to promote Mike Hart up to 4th. Mike Hart having a quiet run tonight, but a clean and consistent one. He's up to 4th place.
Down Conrad straight though, Andrew. This is the best run that Preston's had in this battle for the lead. They go side by side into the chase, and there's contact! And Sam Sanders is onto the grass. Can he hold it together? He goes rally crossing, and I think Preston, well, just is Preston going to give that place back?
I wouldn't. I think that was fine. Preston was on the inside. Yeah. And will argue that he couldn't go any further to drive. So he is going to let him through.
He's
going to let him through. Well, that is very sporting of Michael Preston. He lets Sam Sanders back through. On my viewing of it, that was a racing incident. And Josh Ladd's going to like that because he's just taken 2.5 seconds out of them.
Yeah, we said if he was going to have a chance to take this win again, Andrew, he needed them to battle, and battle they are. And that is as costly a way as they could have gone about doing it.
Here's Tom Edwards. His story is that he's in 11th place and he's got Matthew Whitefoot just ahead in 10th, and then the two leaders. Well, this race that just simmered away at the front of the field, there wasn't that much action in the first 90 minutes. This last stint after the second pit stop, it's just erupted with action here at Mount Panorama. And Michael Preston looks to me to be the faster driver at this stage of the race, Howard. You've got to think that he's setting up for another move down through Conrod and into the chase.
And I just wonder, Andrew, they've triple stinted these tyres now. We spoke about how Sam Sanders spent a large portion of that middle stint behind Preston, loading those tyres up just a little bit more as he had to turn just a bit more to deal with the wash he was getting off of a fellow competitor. Are his tyres beginning to give up on him? Because it seems to me that Preston's able to close up a bit over the mountain section, and as we saw a lap ago, once again put himself in a position where he's in the slipstream.
Right there, side by side, the two race leaders, the two championship light leaders. Oh, who's going to take this one into the chase? Preston's got it round the outside of Sam Sanders. I think you're right, Howard. I just think that the tyres on Sam Sanders' number 34 are just not up to the task. They're maybe 5%, 10% worse off than Michael Preston. Oh, Preston's gone deep. Preston's gone deep through Murray's. This is going to be an opportunity perhaps for Sam Sanders into hell corner. Preston gives a slight wiggle there just to put off. Nathan Maxwell is properly in trouble. He's in the pit lane. Looks to be out of the race. A great run in the top 5 is over. Here we go again. Up the hill. Can Sam Sanders find a way past before the mountain? But all of this battling, Howard, is playing into the hands of Josh Ladd. There he is. You can just see him, the purple car. The other Williams BenQ car is only 6 seconds behind.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was a gap that was out at 10 seconds and then a little bit more when he came out of the pits. In fact, it was 12 seconds, I think, at one point, and he has been able to reel this one in. He's going to have to deal with some traffic between them now, but it is crucial how he deals with them, and it's crucial now for his prospects of moving further up the podium positions, how much these two battle. You just feel on this lap, Andrew, over the hill, Preston is going to try and eke out a gap here to give himself some breathing room. Yeah,
he needs to be in a defendable position once they get onto the Conrod straight. Down through the dipper. Trying to keep that speed up through the corners. Josh Ladd is closing all the time. You can just see him there. Going through the dipper now. Through Forest Elbow go the leaders. Following them here on the helicopter. Is Sam Sanders close enough to get a run once they get through into the chase? I don't think he is. He's too far back. And this is a good moment of these last few laps for Michael Preston. He doesn't have to think about defending at the next braking zone.
Yeah, for the first time, I think he's done enough to break the toe. And as you say, Andrew, he can now go into the chase unconcerned. And I think it's now going to take something quite special for Sanders to reel him back in, because I really do think, as we've been saying, as we've been speculating the last couple of laps, I really do think that his tyres are maybe just that little bit more weary at the end of this very long stint that they've been doing. As behind them, that's a move. That is Tom Edwards through on Matthew Whitefoot.
It's going to be very close on whether this is 4 laps or 3 laps to go. For Josh Ladd, you're hoping it's 4. There he is, last lap. A 2-minute 3.6. Compare that to Sanders, a 2-minute 4.68. He was a second quicker. But crucially for Michael Preston, a 2-minute 3.95. If he keeps it at that rate, Josh Ladd will not have an opportunity to retake the lead. But this is Josh Ladd. This is the reigning champion. This is a driver who has accomplished so much in his young iRacing and sim racing career. And having led this race for so long from pole position, he is not going to give this one up with 5 minutes and 15 seconds of the race to go.
Absolutely not, Andrew. I just feel in order for, oh gosh,
front end's gone.
Pushing. Yeah, he's pushing, but yeah, there's just not that. There's not the same bite, I think, that we've seen before in this race. A slight touch of the wall there as well. He's really pushing, but he's just falling out of touch with Michael Preston. And I think in doing so, Andrew, bizarrely, he might be securing himself second place.
Yeah.
Because if he did start to try and fight, it'd leave him exposed to Josh Ladd. So in a bizarre way, it's helping to cement where he is in the field. But of course, he would like to do better all the same.
Matthew Whitefoot here, still second place in C2. How about Murray Adams looking to get onto the podium once again in C2? He's running not too far behind. Nathan Maxman has got going again, by the way. He's running in 10th place, no, 11th place now. James Fremont running fantastically. In fact, sorry, no, James Fremont is on the podium at the moment ahead of Murray Adams.
You point out a good point, Andrew. In fact, you can see Murray Adams there. It's a gap of 2 seconds between these two. So battle is on for the last of these podium positions in Class 2.
Got to say, again, this is another brilliant drive from James Fremont, who I still say is taking the award for most improved driver of 2022. I think that's that first round that he did at Daytona. He's taken a massive step forward this year and continues to deliver results. Will do if he can just complete these last few
Cameron
laps.
Watson has hit the wall.
Yep, Cameron Watson in trouble. Is that Ferrari crabbing down the straights? How's the steering looking? He's not sure before they get to the kink. It's not looking too bad. Just been getting gently back up to speed.
Yeah. Definitely a scary moment there.
3 minutes to go then. Leaders have just come out of Forest Elbow now. There is your leader. He's now got a 3-second lead. I mean, this, got to say, just before that second set of pit stops, wasn't it, Howard? Something clicked, or something was just held in reserve by Michael Preston, and he took it up a notch.
Yeah,
wasn't easy for him. Not really overtaken by Sam Sanders, but of all the race victories that we've seen Michael Preston be able to put together in this series, if he can complete these last 2 laps, this is going to be one of the best.
Yeah, agreed, mate. He's just played it brilliantly in the latter half and clearly nursed the tyres. And the question is now, in fact, just now, we've passed the point where I was about to say the gaps are equidistant. Is now closer between Sam Sanders and Josh Ladd than it is between Preston and Sanders. So the gap from second to third closer than the gap from first to second. In other words, it's no longer about can he catch Preston for Sanders, it's can he fend off a charging Josh Ladd. There is Josh Ladd. He might not be able to pick off the lead, Andrew, that he held for so long. He might just be able to work his way back up into second place.
Could well do. I think, if I'm not mentioned already, JJ Easton's in the pit lane again and may have retired from this race. Here are Chris Hansen and Murray Adams. This is over 13th place overall. 1 minute to go. 1 minute to go on the clock here at Mount Panorama for round 9 of this year's Club 100 and BUKC iRacing Championship. If you've enjoyed the stream, it's your first time here, even your second time here, if you've not subscribed yet, give that button a press. Just like Chris Hansen is giving his throttle pedal a press up the hill now, getting by. This should be a fairly straightforward one against Murray Adams. Good move there for Chris Hansen. A lot of action so far tonight. Can he catch James Fremont in the latter parts of this race? 15 seconds to go. Where are the leaders? Just coming into the chase now and through the chase. We'll be very close to this. Might be the final lap. 3 seconds to go. Is Michael Preston going to be the race winner? He is. No. Is he? No. Has he got over the line? No, I think this is the final lap. I'm not seeing white flag yet, so we'll keep going. I think that was I mean, we talked earlier about if it's less than 5 seconds, they'll go around again. I think that just happened. But anyway,
I think he could have backed off.
He could have backed off. Could have saved himself a lap here. This could put a few people in trouble, in fact. Including Charlie Summers. I think Charlie Summers is realising that he needs to get behind the leaders because he's short on fuel.
Yeah. Yeah, this could be interesting, Andrew.
Well, Michael Preston obviously thinks he's got enough fuel. This could get very interesting, folks. Josh Ladd's had to back off. Josh Ladd has had to back off. He's 5 seconds behind. This could produce a little bit of late drama here at Bathurst because Michael Preston, the cheeky whatso, has gone and done one more lap. Did not back off, did not make the checkered flag come out, and this could really, really scupper people if they've not equated in that there's going to be another lap.
Whitefoot, Andrew, is in this bizarre scenario where he's catching Josh Ladd over the mountain and he's having to go,
would you get out of the way, please?
Can I pass? I'm trying to get second in class, mate, here. How bizarre. This, I have to say, you and I both love the endurance format, mate. This race has delivered. I'll say that now even before we've seen the checkered flag. How is everyone looking now for fuel? Well, here comes Michael Preston again.
Now the checkered flag is coming out. Timing's doing something very strange. We'll gloss over that and focus on Michael Preston taking round 9 brilliantly here at Bathurst. Michael Preston wins in Australia in the Club 100 at BUKC iRacing Championship. Championship leader Sam Sanders is going to take second place. Third for Josh Ladd after an incident in the last 20 minutes. Mike Hart is going to finish in 4th place. We haven't seen that much of him, but it's been a classic Mike Hart performance. All that experience of his serving him well is going to get a lot of points here. 5th place is going to go to Cameron Watson. 6th to James Montgomery. That's your runners who finished on the lead lap. Charlie Summers 7th. 8th for Andrew Dawson. 9th for Tom Edwards. A win in C2 for Andrew Dawson. Now we should explain something very strange is happening here, Howard. They're not deliberately crashing into one another.
They're not.
Because we're going to have a run down Conrod Straight if anyone's got enough fuel left.
Yes, this is the thing. There may be a coast down Conrod Straight. Got to get over the mountain first.
Save your fuel, boys. Let's continue through the rest of the order. Andrew Dawson has taken the win in Class 2. 9th for Tom Edwards. 2nd in Class 2 for Matthew Whitefoot. 11th for Nathan Maximin. 12th for Chris Hansen. A great podium. Fantastic podium for James Fremont in class. 13th overall. 3rd in C2. Murray Adams was next up in 14th. There he is across the line. It's going to be David Whitehouse in 15th. 16th for Christopher Powell. 17th for Matthew Cockram on debut. 18th for Matt Hale. Not so good a night for Christopher Powell, unfortunately. We'll be looking to get back on form when we're at Monza in 3 weeks' time in the TCRs. The field bunching up because we have had this special request. Our good friend in the commentary world, Chaz Draycott, had a piece, an exhibition end up on the iRacing pages a few weeks ago. That car's definitely out of fuel because it's not making any noises. And
it is. It's not the new Porsche Mission R.
Oh dear. Ian Sumner will not be able to take part in the space launch.
The checkered flag?
Yes, this is him taking the checkered flag in pit lane. They're heading down Conrod, Howard. We may want to have a look at the number 1. 10-point penalties for anyone who doesn't do this. Come on. Yay. Is it? No,
failures.
No, that's not a steeplechase that's worked. That's the better one. That's a good one. I fear for Sam Sanders here. I hope he's not in VR because he's in a very, very vulnerable position at this point. think everyone is out of fuel. This hasn't quite gone to plan.
It hasn't gone quite right.
Oh, well, there we go. What a race win, though, for Michael Preston. And
hang on. Who's this? Who's this?
Hold up. Oh, no. Who let this guy in? Who let this reprobate in? There's a convict on the track, and he's causing chaos.
Oh, this looks good. This is
a good run for Matt Hale.
A lot of faith there.
Get your boards out. Is it going to be a 6.0? Oh, he's got a bit of a slide on. It's going to go wrong.
Oh, no.
It's a 4.5 for me. It's a 4. He's still going. He's still going. Incredible. Oh, my goodness.
No one's got any fuel to do the jump, Andrew.
Physics has gone wrong here in iRacing. Not for the first time. What a finish. What a finish. Is anybody still left to do the jump? Who else has still got enough fuel to do the jump?
We got Cameron Watson.
Oh, here we go. Come on, Cameron. The big one.
No.
The big one. Oh, he's landed it. What an attempt. What an
James
attempt.
Montgomery. James Montgomery as well. Beautiful stuff.
Oh, this is the alternative version of why we love this circuit, ladies and gentlemen. Poor Matthew Cochrane's just like, what's going on?
I don't think Mercedes, it's not got enough fuel.
Mercedes is out of fuel. I think we've got one more driver. Alan, come on.
Come on,
Come
Alan.
on, son. Come on. This is it. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Alan Curtis is the last driver. Oh, he's not done it. 0 points. 0 points. Oh, that was good fun. Get that guy out. We should know, this is Hixie doing this with a keyboard and a mouse pad, because that's all he's got.
You know, Andrew, I really think he needs to be reported to the series organisers. You know,
He comes in here.
What's David doing?
Oh, David's not had enough yet. He wants to do one more. Come on, David, spin it around.
I think he may have misinterpreted Conrod straight too literally and thinks there's spare parts on offer.
Come on. I don't think that's quite going to work. I don't think he's going to have enough speed to make it over the jump, but we all love a tryer. He's also crabbing a lot. The wiper's going, though. The wiper's going. Oh, it's not was. No, hang on. No. No. That's not going to work. Oh, let's have a look at the result, mate. What a crazy way to finish the race. By the way, the timer has gone complete. Apparently, we've done a 2 hour and 30-minute race. I assure you, we haven't. There's your race. What's your race result?
We'll try that again without
Michael Preston wins. Unbelievable finish. 3.3 seconds ahead of Sam Sanders. 9.4 back was Josh Ladd, who we're pretty sure was having to fuel save like crazy at the end there due to the race going 1 lap longer than drivers were expecting. Mike Hart finishes in 4th. Good points for Mike tonight in the number 11. Cameron Watson, top Ferrari, top non-BMW, I'm going to say it, driver of the day. Top 5 for Cameron there. Really good stuff. James Montgomery could have finished there in the top 5, but had a problem late on. Finishes in 6th. Charlie Summers had a disconnect. Got back running. He's classified in 7th place. A brilliant C2 win, though, in 8th place for Andrew Dawson. 9th for Tom Edwards. 2nd place in C2 for Matthew Mr. Enduro Whitefoot. That was your top 10. Nathan Maximin deserved a lot more than 11th place tonight. But good pace again there for Nathan. Chris Hansen seemed to be everywhere and anywhere tonight out round the mountain. Finishes in 12th place. 3rd place in C2 for James Fremont. Another really good drive from James. Murray Adams, more good points for him in his C2 title challenge. Finishes in 4th. David Whitehouse in the top 5 in class as well there with 15th place. Christopher Powell in 16th, ahead of one of 2 debutants in the series here tonight. Matthew Cochrane finishes in 17th. And C2 Championship leader Matt Hale comes home in 18th. 19th we found Sam Dimolo, the other of our debutants here tonight in the Club 100 and BUKC iRacing Championship in the top 20. Also was Ian Sumner, Alan Curtis 21st, and troubles for JJ Asen 22nd, Tom Dix 23rd, Craig Brown, Andrew Golby was the last of our runners, and someone sneaked in an Australia livery right at the end and did technically finished 58 laps down, but he's not going to get any points for that. Don't even try, Mr. Hicks. Wow. Sum that one up for me, mate. I think that's been one of the most remarkable ones we've done so far.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, this. Do you know what? I am really happy because I think sometimes, you know, you might look at an endurance format, and we the majority of our races in this series are sprint events, and I think you could look at endurances and maybe think that there's going to be less entertainment. But for me, mate, the last 2 hours have just flown by. It's been an absolute joy. And yeah, okay, you said the phrase perfectly, I think, a few minutes before the end of it's just simmering away, and then it suddenly comes to the boil so nicely. That is exactly what makes the best endurance racing. That's exactly what we got. A bit of uncertainty thrown in the last half hour. Josh Ladd coming in. You had things fairly close as well in Class 2 there. The pressure having to be kept on by Matthew Whitefoot of Andrew Dawson. James Fremont as well for third in that class, being kept under pressure as well by the likes of Murray Adams. And then at the front you had that battle between Sanders and Preston, and it came down to traditional endurance racing things. I think that Sanders' tyres started to tire, and it just gave Preston the edge over the mountain. That set him up onto a movement down Conrad straight into the chase, and from there he was able to control it. And watching that little nip and tuck, I mean, fair play to all those who ran a Porsche, a Merc or a Ferrari tonight, particularly Cameron Watson doing good duties there. And well done to Matthew Cochrane, I will say, as well, on his debut as well. You know, almost a single make series here, and yet we had such different characteristics between those drivers towards the end. Preston, who had a bit more life in the tyres and was trying to control it. Sanders, who was trying to push but clearly didn't quite have the turn in. And Josh Ladd, perhaps a bit of red mist over what caused him to have to make an additional pit stop, pushing like crazy there. And it made for a great finish. I thoroughly enjoyed it, mate. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And what a way to make a comeback after our summer break. That was lovely.
Absolutely, couldn't have said it better myself. That's all we've got time for tonight here on the DDMM YouTube channel. Oh, hello, Loopy. Loopy's just come in. You've missed a cracker, mate. Watch it back here on the channel. We'll be back with more action from the Club 100 and BUKC iRacing Championship in 3 weeks' time. We'll be in the TCRs, and it'll be Monza that is our host for the sprint format. Do tune in for that. Do subscribe. Click the notification bell and all of that YouTube jazz. And in real life as well, real life commentaries. We have something coming on the 1st of October, so do stick about for that. And the next round of the Club 100 Cadets and Juniors on the 2nd as well. And if you missed it, on Saturday, you've got the most recent round of that championship to have a watch as well over with our friends on Alpha Live. Right, we're going to wrap things up there. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Do hope you've enjoyed the evening. Do take care, and we'll see you very, very soon for more racing here on Double Dash Motorsport Media.